Was because here in this land, we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading, "My Pledge," he had written these words: "America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone." We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.
I can promise you that.
There's a rumble in the distance, something stirring up the ground. Coffee shops and corner stores, people talking all around. But the words they're speaking softly got a weight that pulls you down. Something's moving through the grapevine, word by word from town to town. And they lean in close to tell you what they heard somebody say. But the truth gets bent and twisted as it travels on its way. Who do you trust when the talk gets low? Who do you trust when the whispers grow in the halls of power where the secrets flow? Who do you trust? Tell me who do you trust? Backroom deals and handshake promises sliding underneath the door. Politicians playing poker with the chips are rich and poor. Every word's a calculation, every pause worth so much more. While the people keep on waiting for the truth they're hungry for. And they lean in close to tell you what they heard somebody say. But But the truth gets bent and twisted as it travels on its way. Who do you trust when the talk gets low? Who do you trust when the whispers grow in the halls of power where the secrets flow? Do you trust? Tell me who do you trust? Thicker, every lie becomes the truth, and the honest voices calling sound like strangers in the booth. We're all just trying to listen to the static and the noise, but the loudest information drowns out the quieter voice. Who do you trust when the talk gets low? Who you trust when the whispers grow in the halls of power where the secrets flow? Who you trust? Tell me who do you trust? Who you trust? Do you trust? Do you trust? Do you trust when the whispers grow?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Political Theater, everybody. Thank you guys for joining me this evening. If you guys are joining us on Rumble, Substack, wherever you guys may be tuning in this evening, thank you guys for being here. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, there has been a lot of news today. It's a tragic day now. I had a whole monologue planned for something completely different this morning, but obviously this has been completely different. This has been changed completely. If you guys are looking for the X Space, it is now up and running just now. It just went live on the X Space just now. So if you guys are trying to join there, you can now. But we've got a lot to talk about, guys. I've got a couple guests that are probably going to be joining us at some point this evening. But the first thing we need to talk about is the National Guardsmen that have been shot in Washington, D.C. So apparently a Afghan national shot a National Guardsman dead in Washington, D.C. From what I understand, the story is that he just walked up to him and executed him and then said, Allahu Akbar. This is one day before Thanksgiving. A National Guardsman is now, their family is not going to have their loved one anymore. So that is a tragedy. It is a terrible story. The president has already responded. The governor of West Virginia has already responded. Apparently, these were National Guardsmen from West Virginia. That's why he responded, if you guys didn't know that. As far as I'm aware, the suspect is in custody. He is an Afghan national. I think his name has been released now as well. And I think there's some details about how he had come back in underneath Biden's immigration policy. So if there's more updates on that as that comes through, we're going to discuss that. I'm actually going to have a couple people join the show tonight. They're going to talk about this. I'm going to see if I can have Matt Tardio in the show this evening. I've got a few things I want to talk to him about, and Kevin Smith may be joining us at some point as well. But thank you guys for being here. We got a lot to talk about other than that. So I'm Walter Kurt, guys. Thank you guys. This is the Political Theater. Thank you for being here. We had other things we needed to discuss as well. Marjorie Taylor Greene has also decided that she is ending her political career in spectacular fashion. So we'll talk about that. We'll also go through, there's a interesting story that didn't get enough attention yesterday that we need to talk about. There's more about the seditious six, and I want to get into that a lot because there's a number of stories to talk about on that. But before we do any of that, make sure you guys share this space out. If you guys would like to join the show, I'm going to have guests that are going to join the live version of the show, the live video stream version of the show this evening, guys. So if they're going to be joining it at some point, I just sent them the link so they can join whenever. But before we do any of that, make sure you guys share the X space out. If you guys want to join the show and talk, you can do that now. Just request to show up on the show. We've got a number of things we got to go over. But first, this National Guardsman story is just ridiculous, guys. I mean, this is horrible. As far as I'm aware, there's not a number of updates on it other than what we see here. This is all we have. The best we've got so far is that he's an Afghan national and he just did this. It seems like an out of the blue kind of thing. I will say though, there's been a pattern that I've noticed over the past 6 or 7 months or so, and it seems to me that after every major event that we have in the country, it appears that after we have some holiday or something, guys remember there was the attack right after New Year's Day up in New Orleans. I don't know if this is something that should be noted or if it's a specific pattern, but I notice it. It seems something that we need to probably try and figure out if there's actually more information on it. So, thank you for tagging that. So the guy's name is Rahmanullah Lankala. Well, I can't say his name, dude. Afghan dude. That's what his name is, okay? Afghan dude that came in underneath the Biden administration. That's all this is. Okay, we don't really need to go into depth of who he is, other than the fact that he came underneath the Biden administration. He said Allahu Akbar, and he shot a National Guardsman dead in the middle of the street, which is terrible. This is horrible. There's no good way to talk about it. To me, this is kind of the idea of, is it terrorism? I don't know. Maybe. But I will say that the Democrats, over the past, 6 months or so, haven't helped. Have they helped at all? Think about all the things they've been saying over the past 6 months. Over the past 6 months, they've said that the Guardsmen and the ICE officers are the Gestapo. They're the evil, the worst, the terrible people in the entire world. They're awful. Every single one of them are the worst people that have ever existed. This is in my eyes, it's at the feet of the Democrats one way or another, from mass immigration from the Joe Biden administration, or it's from their rhetoric over the past 6 months, calling all of our Guardsmen and all of our troops and all of our law enforcement evil and terrible and just doing the bidding of a dictator. So, this is, you guys have to keep in mind that it was not even, what was this? This is a week and a half from the Seditious Six video that just came out. So, to me, I don't know how to look at this other than the fact that, this is a horrible tragedy, but it's kind of predictable. When you sit there and tell everybody that our Guardsmen are evil people and the worst people ever, and then you have some radical that goes out here and does something, we shouldn't be shocked. This is something that we can put at the feet of the Democrats as far as I'm concerned. They're the ones that caused this. They're the ones who did it. They're the ones that have talked about it endlessly, calling every single one of these people horrible, evil, essentially the secret police that are snatching people off the streets. This is horrible. And this is what happens when you treat our law enforcement like this. I've been calling it for months now. The Democrats have claimed that they moved away from their defund the police motives, but they didn't really. So they, wow. Okay, guys, apparently we have an address to the nation from President Trump at 9:15 p.m. So that just came out. So he's going to be addressing the nation in 5 minutes. So I will be putting that on then. I will play that live for everybody. So that'll be streamed here live on the show. I didn't realize that was happening. So it looks like that's happening in just a couple minutes. So I'll bring that up. Make sure we get that live for everybody to listen to, see what the president has to say. Obviously, this is a horrific attack, so, it's interesting. We'll have to tune that in as soon as that happens. So that's in 5 minutes, guys. So if you guys have anything to say before we pull that up, make sure you guys share the show. Make sure you guys put a comment down below. If you have something to say, you can always put it in the streams. Any of the streams, I do actually, I read all the comments that I can possible. But if you guys want to join the show and talk about this for a second before the address to the nation for the president starts, you're welcome to do so now. We've also got other people that are going to be joining the show here shortly. So if you guys would like to join just for just a couple minutes here before we have this event from the president, this statement from the president. So I'm interested to see what he has to say here. There's a number of people that are posting this stuff about how Islam is the sword the left is using to slit the throat of America. Yes, that's true. I've actually written extensively. I have I've got a whole article that talks about how the Marxists have married themselves into the jihadists. And it's actually a really, really a big problem. You can read that piece on townhall.com. I've got a column on townhall.com. You can read that on there. It's on my personal Substack as well. Guys, looks like Kevin Smith has joined us on the show this evening as well, so I'm going to pull him in here. What's up, Kevin? Thank you guys for joining me, dude. Apparently, Trump is about to address the country in like 5 minutes. So we're going to pull that up and play that. So we'll have that going in here in just a second here. I don't have any audio from you, Kevin.
You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
There we go. Got to change those settings. No, that's no, it's good to hear that the president's going to speak on this. We haven't had a terrorist attack, so to speak, in the traditional sense in quite some time. An attack that could have been completely prevented. But it's sad, and I hope these two guys pull through, man. The videos and that one photo that came out is pretty
Yeah, it's gut wrenching, dude. So, do we have any? Do you have any confirmation? Like, there was the statement from the president, from Patrick Morrissey, that at one point one of them was dead, or there was a casualty, but then that was retracted. So there was a bit of confusion on that. So, do we actually know the current status of them? I haven't been able to look. I haven't seen it yet.
It went from they both died from Governor Morrissey. Whoever in that office put that out.
Yeah, serious screw up.
They should be on a breadline tomorrow. But and then they went from that to critical that cashed that, and that's the last I've heard. Obviously, they're going to wait next to kin stuff if something does go
right. Yeah, I mean, normally that's why I thought it was a bit strange when Morrissey said that. Like, normally they don't even say that. Like, even if they know that there's someone's gone, they usually wait until they tell next to kin first. But I mean, regardless, this is a horrible thing. I mean, so apparently the president is about to address in like 2 minutes. So I'm gonna pull that stream up so we can watch that. So, but go ahead.
If the president says he's coming on in 2 minutes, that means we should probably start reading, page 1 of the New York Times, and by the time we'll be in the Metro section.
Yeah.
But hopefully he does. Hopefully,
Hey, Walter, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Paul. What's up?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say I can't even see Kevin. There's some real flaky stuff going on with X tonight. I just wanted to say what's bothered a lot of
people. Paul, just so you're aware, Kevin is on the live video version of this show. So
I didn't know you could speak on the live video version.
The live video version of the show is different, Paul. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to pull this White House stream up, and as soon as I see the president start talking, I'll have that played. It doesn't look like there's anything happening just yet. Don't worry about it, Paul. It's okay.
But what I did want to say is what's bothered me and a lot of people is the reaction from places like CNN, like Al Sharpton blaming President Trump for the National Guard.
Of course.
It's just infuriating.
I mean, it's infuriating on all levels because they're the ones that have done this. They've said that the National Guardsmen are the worst people that have ever existed for 6 months. I mean, they're the Gestapo. They're the secret police. They're snatching people off the streets. They're horrible. They're the worst people that's ever existed. And then you've got what do we have just a couple months ago? We had a sniper showed up outside of an ICE facility. I mean, this isn't the first one.
Thank God they didn't know how bullets worked.
Yeah.
And, when you shoot through glass, it's not, the trajectory is off. I guess they never played Call of Duty, but what you could have learned from that. But, normally I'm not somebody that blames politicians for rhetoric. So, like, I didn't blame Bernie Sanders for the congressional baseball shooting, even though the guy yelled out about free healthcare. This, in the last year and a half, this is very different, man. It is when you label troops in the streets as the Gestapo, and when you label everyone on the American right as Nazis, don't be shocked when these sorts of things happen. Look, there's going to be deranged people out there, 100%, but this is not some guy living in Reddit in his parents' basement who's never been with a woman before. This is a grown man who came from Afghanistan who probably saw things that would make you and I curl up into a ball. So this isn't some incel, never been outside, 21-year-old with a vitamin D deficiency.
Guys, looks like the president is speaking. So let me pull this up here real quick. Looks like he is speaking.
Has achieved an unparalleled public safety serving my great fellow Americans. Earlier today, on the eve of the Thanksgiving holiday, 2 members of the National Guard serving in Washington, D.C., were shot at point-blank range in a monstrous ambush-style attack just steps away from the White House. They had been deputized as part of the most successful public safety and national security mission in the history of our nation's capital, the D.C. Safe and Beautiful Task Force, which has achieved an unprecedented reduction in violent crime and crimes of all type. This heinous assault was an act of evil, an act of hatred, and an act of terror. It was a crime against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. The hearts of all Americans tonight are with those 2 members of the West Virginia National Guard and their families. The love of our entire country is pouring out for them, and we are lifting them up in our prayers. As we are filled with anguish and grief for those who were shot, we're also filled with righteous anger and ferocious resolve. As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price. I can report tonight that based on the best available information, the Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021 on those infamous flights that everybody was talking about. Nobody knew who was coming in. Nobody knew anything about it. His status was extended under legislation signed by President Biden, a disastrous president, the worst in the history of our country. This attack underscores the single greatest national security threat facing our nation. The last administration let in 20 million unknown and unvetted foreigners from all over the world, from places that you don't want to even know about. No country can tolerate such a risk to our very survival. An example is Minnesota, where hundreds of thousands of Somalians are ripping off our country and ripping apart that once great state. Billions of dollars are lost, and gangs of Somalians come from a country that doesn't even have a government, no laws, no water, no military, no nothing. As their representatives in our country preach to us about our Constitution and how our country is no good. We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling. That is why tonight I can announce that I have directed the Department of War to mobilize an additional 500 troops to help protect our capital city. We will make America totally safe again, and we will bring the perpetrator of this barbaric attack to swift and certain justice if the bullets going in the opposite direction haven't already done that. During this time of the year, when we gather at home with loved ones, these two patriots were wearing the uniform of our country, patrolling the streets of our capital. They had taken a selfless oath to defend our nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that is exactly what they were doing when they were gunned down in a savage attack. I want to express my extraordinary gratitude to every member of the United States military who is deployed tonight at home and abroad. I also want to thank the Secret Service and the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department for their work today. This Thanksgiving, I ask every family to say a prayer for the two great heroes who were so horribly shot, and for their loved ones. Please say a prayer. May God bless them and comfort them, and may God bless and protect the United States of America. Thank you and good night.
All right, everybody, and that was the statement from President Trump on the shooting. So, obviously a pretty strong statement from the president, and it was good that he addressed the nation. That was necessary, I think, after this. There were a couple notes on this. He definitely appears that he is treating it as if this was a terror attack. He said it very clearly. He said, that this is, we're not going to bow in the face of terror. He also brought up the fact that there's so many different Somalians, there's so many different other problems that this has caused, all of the immigration issues. This is why mass deportations are necessary. This is why we can't slow down on them, why we can't back off on it at all. This has to happen. You have to have more deportations. You have to get more of these people out because this is going to happen again. This is the disastrous policies of the Biden administration is what caused this, and we can't back off from it. We have to fix it. There's no other option. We have to solve the problem. We have to get as many of these people out as possible. This is a terrible tragedy that has happened one day before Thanksgiving, and it was obviously, and I agree, the idea, I was wondering if they were going to treat it as a terrorism attack, but, it's a day before Thanksgiving. I mean, it's obviously this is going to hit people hard because everyone's at home. Everyone's with their families. Everyone's ready to go and have Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow, and now there's going to be two people that won't have Thanksgiving dinner with their families, even if they were not even going to be there. That doesn't matter. Now they know that they'll never have another Thanksgiving with them ever again. So this is a horrible tragedy, obviously, but good statement from the president. I'm glad that he brought it forward. I'm glad that he actually did that. because it is necessary. Okay, I've got a couple people that are joining the show to come up here and speak. So I've got one of my typical co-hosts, Chris, is joining. And then I've got Pepe Le Pew, which is another regular in the show, and Lazaria. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. Chris, how are you, my friend? How are you? Been a minute?
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. Like I said, I've been taking care of my dad, and it's just not. Anyway, so today was just a little stunning. I mean, I think it's a reality for folks on our side of the aisle for sure that what we're facing, and I think I'm not even going to say I think. I feel confident in knowing that this is a coordinated effort. This is not some random video that was released at the same time that billboards were released in these states, at the same time that there were these attacks on ICE in all these areas and legislation trying to strip them of masking and all these different things. This is a coordinated Democratic effort to focus in on this. I personally feel they overplayed their hand. And they also, in my opinion, have been continuing to open the door to violence as the solution. What they're trying to stoke, I don't know if it's kinetic or if they genuinely believe that this is a good strategy for them. However, I will say that at this point in time, we have a Republican Congress that doesn't have the political will or the eyes to recognize the field they're on. And we have two soldiers who, if reports are correct, one was a female soldier. This guy shot them point blank, and they're not going to be able to see their family, and that's disgusting.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, and this is a direct result of the previous administration's policies. This is a good moment for people to kind of take a stock of where we're at. There's been constant infighting on the right recently about a number of different things. In half the day today, I was arguing with people about there was a statement by Vivek Ramaswamy that has upset people for some reason. They've been all mad and been out of shape about it. But guys, everyone's worried about what's going on in the Republican Party, whether or not we need to have this policy or that policy. It's a good reminder when something like this happens that, guys, remember where we were. Okay, remember what we were it wasn't that long ago. Okay, this is last year. Okay, this is last year. We had so much of this stuff. This is the division in the party, in our party, needs to be tamped down, because if you let the left get back in charge, they will open that border right back up. They will bring it right back to where we were. Don't you hesitate and believe it for a second that they won't do it. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. They'll go right back to where they were. They don't care. It doesn't matter to them. Whatever they got to do to get back into power, and once they get back into power, you think they won't go right back to what they were doing underneath the Biden administration? You're nuts if you think that. It'll be worse. It'll be worse than what they did underneath the Biden administration. In fact, I'm already seeing them come out and say things like, they're going to prosecute anybody that supported the administration this time. I'm seeing them go further. This is what I warned about. A couple months ago, I saw Jamie Raskin say something along the lines of, we will not look kindly upon those who ushered in authoritarianism in this country. That's a threat in my eyes. They know what they're doing. They have full intention, if they get back into control, that they want to actually stoke the division as far as they possibly can. And I don't doubt that for a second. I don't doubt it for a second. I mean, I agree with you. I don't know about a coordinated effort specifically with this attack, Chris. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I agree with that specifically. But what I will say is that it certainly doesn't help when you spend the past 6 months telling everybody that our guardsmen are horrible people and that they're the Gestapo and that they're rounding people up in the streets. This doesn't help. It certainly does not help.
Well, Walter, I think that people don't believe. I think that people that have common sense do not believe that they believe these things, that it's just politics.
Yeah.
They just want to get back power, but that's not the case. Like, these are words coordinated, like Elisa Slotkin, these people on these videos, they were CIA. This is classic textbook color revolution.
That's right.
And unfortunately, you either take them at their word in the operation that's being taken care of. This is not random money. This is the same NGOs, Soros, some of the unions, some Nigel, whatever his name is in Beijing, the Walton heiress in Mexico. These are the same. These are the same Neville. Yeah, these are the same billionaires and organizations and foundations, Melinda Gates Foundation, all these, they're all the same, funneling money across each other to these air quote NGOs for causes like climate and the community and poverty, whatever it is. But the reality is it's going 100% to administrative staff who happen to also be involved in these protests, fire bombings of Teslas, physical attacks on ICE, shootings of ICE agents, now executions of National Guardsmen. I mean, these are all things that are directly coordinated financially. And the only way you stop unfortunately, the only way you stop a color revolution is you have to freeze assets, you have to hold people accountable, and you have to process the living hell out of them. And that's going to be a problem for one reason, and that is because most of these federal cases go to the DC circuit with judges who have relatives or themselves that are also involved in some of these same things. So Republican Congress, one vote majority, could dissolve the DC court right now. They could redistrict, redraw out all of these judges. They could impeach these judges. One vote majority can allow them to do these things. They don't have the political will. And that's the dangerous part for us. Like that for me, I'm like, what is really happening right now? You know, and so anyway, that's my take. I think this is
this is the same sort of thing I've been saying for months now, guys. The Republican Party is not playing the same game. Okay, they're not. Okay, the left is playing a different game than we are. They don't care. Okay, I said this after Abigail Spanberger won in Virginia. Okay, after this happened, I told everybody, I said, listen to me. The Democrats don't care who they run for office. It means nothing to them. It means nothing to them at all. It's irrelevant to them. They'll run whoever they want. They will bring in whoever they want. They will run whoever they want. They will do this whenever they feel. They will do this whenever they want. They will run a goldfish and win elections. Okay, that's who they are. They don't care. They don't care if Jay Jones literally said he wanted to shoot his political opponents and let them die in their mother's arms, and it doesn't mean anything to them. They still ran him anyway. They ran a whole machine behind him, and they won. So we're sitting here arguing about, oh, I don't like my candidate. I'm not sure I'm like, no, guys, we're playing the wrong game. Okay, the Democrats don't care at all who they're running against. All they care about is getting in control, and then once they get back into power, they're going to exercise that power to the fullest extent that they possibly can. And the Republicans, Chris, you're 100% right on this. They don't seem to believe that we're living in this world. Yes, we are. There is no argument about it. They don't care. They don't care at all. So, this is something that I don't know how you managed to get it through to the Republican Congress. How many things, I thought after Trump was nearly assassinated, they would get the message. Okay. I thought that after they burned Tesla places across the country, they would get the message. I thought that maybe after they started shooting at ICE officers, they would get the message. I thought that maybe after Charlie Kirk was assassinated in broad daylight, they would get the message. They don't get the message. And to me, they still believe we're having an argument about policy or something. No, we're not. They hate us. They hate us and they want us dead. Welcome back to the show, Kevin. By the way, guys, if you are following on the live stream, Kevin Smith has just joined me back again. So welcome back, Kevin.
What's going on? Sorry, I had to take a call real quick.
You're fine.
Bro, you're so right. I am so sick and tired of pretending we're having like 1997 arguments. Like, oh, it's just Clinton and Gingrich, and they're having beers afterwards. Or Tip O'Neill and Reagan. Like, oh, during the day, I'm a Republican and you're a Democrat, but at night, we're both Irish. No, it's not that. We're not like that anymore. Right. Those days are so over. And I want to be very clear to the people listening to this and the people watching this on the right. I'm going to try to say this gently. If you're out there and your biggest argument is what podcast host had what podcast guest on their show, and you think that's the fight, you're worse than Democrats. Okay? I don't like this person. I don't like that person. I don't watch those people. I don't like Fuentes. I'm not a big fan, so I don't watch him. But if you're out there and you're going to pretend that the civil war in MAGA is between Tucker and Ben Shapiro, when the two of them ought be at war with the people who let an Afghani refugee in who just shot 2 National Guardsmen in the face, or the people who would side with the guy who killed Charlie Kirk, you're part of the problem. You're the reason why we're not going to win. And then we can all be governed by the worst people in the world who have no morals whatsoever. But Republicans will be able to stand up and say, well, we stood against tariffs. And that goes for so many. I'm talking to Rand Paul and Thomas Massey. I'm talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, you guys are missing the forest for the trees. And
that's right.
It's so much bigger than this tip. Do I like the Epstein rollout? No, I don't like the Epstein rollout. But if you're going to turn your back on the coalition that we've built over, Pam Bondi giving bullshit binders to a lot of our friends, then you should have never been here in the first place. And you're the reason why we're going to lose. And people need to, now that we got smoked in the midterms, blown away, people need to remove head from ass and realize that in 12 months, we got one more election and we can learn the hard way, or we can fix it immediately. And I fear that a lot of people are going to learn the hard way.
That's exactly what my argument has been. So, everyone knows that I was super active down in Virginia. I was trying my best to try and get people to pay attention to Virginia. But you go look at these other people. How many people were talking about Virginia? Nobody. No one was really talking about it. No one was paying any attention to it. No one was running the ground game. No one was doing anything. Now, I blame a lot of this, the Virginia loss. I blame most of that on the Virginia Republican Party. I think they were an idiot, stupid organization. And that I've heard it on, I was on John Frederick's show Outside the Beltway. And he was telling me, he said, essentially the Virginia Republican Party is nothing. It's just a burnt coffee pot and a beeper. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. I mean, but again, when we're fighting about who our candidate is, guys, there's a primary for a reason. And if the primary doesn't happen and no one challenges in the primary and it's over, you support the candidate. Stop screwing around. Because you get to see the result if you don't do this. The result is the Democrats run whoever the hell they want. It doesn't matter to them if they're the worst candidate. I mean, go look at these candidates they ran this previous election, right? So go look at Abigail Spanberger. The woman was in the middle of a defamation trial. Okay, she's in the middle of a defamation trial for she was defaming a citizen of her own district. Okay, no one talked about that except me. I was the only person that brought that story out. No one wanted to talk about that story. No one cared about that story. I broke two national stories in Virginia specifically to use in that campaign, and no one talked about it. No one talked about it. No one cared. Everyone wants to fight about whether Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, all this stuff. Guys, who cares? None of this shit matters. Guys, the one thing I argue with people a lot about is everyone wants to talk about foreign policy, specifically on X. That's all people talk about. Oh my God, Israel this, Israel that. If you are just focused on just that, I promise you're not out in the real world talking to real people, because that's not what people care about.
Same thing with Epstein. Go ahead, go to your local bar. Go to your local bar and ask the guy sitting at the end of the counter who Lex Wexner is.
That's right.
Or ask him if milk is getting more expensive.
That's right.
Because I guarantee you, no one knows. Go to the deli tomorrow morning is Thanksgiving. Friday morning when you're hungover, go to the deli and ask the guy behind the counter who Ghislaine Maxwell is. I guarantee you they have no idea. All they know is that bacon, egg, and cheese is $1 more this year than it was last year.
That's
and
right.
How do we fix that? That's all they know. And if Republicans do not get on the affordability train, they're going to be paying for it for a long time. Ooh, I like that.
That's right. I like that.
That works.
That works. I mean, listen to me. That's good there. I like that. I like that a lot. But you're right about it. I mean,
it's yours. It's on your show.
Yeah, no, that's good though. I like they got to get on it, otherwise they'll be paying for it. I like that. I like that a lot. That's good. I'm going to clip that. But listen, you're right, because the affordability train, and this is why I got really annoyed. I don't know if you guys saw the story that happened about Vivek Ramaswamy. There was some giant story that and by the way, the only reason this blew up in the first place is because the left grabbed a hold of it, and then someone put out some stupid rumor that it was an AI version of what he said. And then it wasn't an AI version of what he said, so that turned into some ridiculous story. But if you go listen to it, and I took a listen to the clip, and what he was talking about, he's talking about let's come up with ideas to make parenting more affordable in Ohio. How do we do that? Well, we could extend the school year for a full year. That way, people don't have to pay for childcare. Well, okay, wait, hold on here. Is that a horrible idea? No. Is it a great idea? I don't know. It's a weird idea. It's a new idea. I've never heard it before. But everyone immediately goes out there and says, oh my God, it's the worst thing that's ever happened. I'm like, why is that bad? We shouldn't be going after people that are coming up with new ideas to try and solve the affordability problem. That's an idea. Why can't we talk about it? Why can't we come up with ideas that make things more affordable for people? There's nothing wrong with people who are coming up with out-of-the-box ideas. Are they good ideas? Are they bad ideas? At least they're ideas.
Yeah.
That's what my point is.
Well, that was like the whole Andrew Yang thing when he ran for president. He was just throwing things out there to see, all right, let's test the waters over here. Let's do it. Somebody sitting behind me is going to love this comment. But the fact that we go nuclear on everything
That's
like
right.
Trump with the H-1Bs. Okay, I think we should end all H-1B programs in America. He said it. He gauged public reaction, and he hasn't said it since. That's what governing is. Ooh, what do we think over here? What if we did that? What if we raised tariffs here? What if we tried this plan? Gave it a little, like, first off, when Vivek Ramaswamy said that about the school year, I don't know if you heard, but there was actually an explosion at your local teachers union building because whoever the shop steward there was just roared and said
That's right. I mean, the teachers unions are the ones that freaked out about it the most. That's why the Democrats glommed onto it so quickly because they were, oh my God, making them work for a full year. Oh, the end of the world. I mean,
why would you become a teacher if you couldn't get off every holiday, every weekend, and 2.5 months in the summer?
That's right. That's
that
right.
way.
I mean,
that way, you can have kids who, I want to be clear, are dumb.
Yeah. Well,
like,
I mean,
no, they're not being taught or reading, writing. No. They're dumb.
Yeah, the deal is that the just the idea in the first place, that was my point, is it a good idea? I don't know. Because one, I'm not sure I like the idea of the government having more control over the kids and whatnot, and having more time with kids. I don't know. But my point is, it's an idea. Why are we upset about someone coming up with an out-of-the-box concept that may be useful? And it does address a problem. Okay, like there was a bunch of people, well, what about the people that don't have their kids, that don't, they get to watch their kids and have their kids the whole school, like, oh, they like their summers. Like, well, cool, but that's not the vast majority of people. Vast majority of people work 2 jobs, both mom and dad work, and then over the summer, they got to pay thousands of dollars out of pocket for childcare. If you're coming up with an idea to try and fix that problem, is not outlandish. It is not a bad thing. And the only reason it became a story is because someone started this rumor there was an AI clip, and then they bait and switched it, and it was like, well, what is this? Like, well, why are we arguing about this?
First off, poor people just send their kids to camp because they have to work. So it's on. I remember growing up, my mother, we didn't have a lot. So while she had to work, she sent me off to like baseball camp or Boy Scout camp or one of the other two because I was gone for the week. And it was essentially the same thing. So,
right.
Like I said, I don't know if I like the idea, but it's something different. Anytime somebody suggests something that is slightly different than the status quo, people lose their mind. And, if we're going to raise a new generation of leaders, and when I say new, I don't mean new ideas. I mean, just people who aren't 80.
Yeah, seriously.
This is just someone who doesn't, need a diaper. You're going to have new ideas. When JD comes up, you don't think he's going to have new ideas? Guy grew up with a heroin addict, addled mother in a dead coal town in the middle of nowhere, America. You don't think he's going to have some new ideas on how we can do things? Yet we still have the neocons out there, the free traders, the people, the Chamber of Commerce Republicans who think that, free trade is the end all be all and dollar stores in your hometown are a good idea. And, the more cheap, brightly colored plastic crap we have is who wins while communities die. If the Republican Party doesn't get on board with the affordability and the new age populism, they're going to be left in the 80s.
Well, then this is what I've said this a lot here recently. I like that you mentioned that the Republican Party has to get on board, because if the Republican Party does not embrace some of the aspects of populism, and not only embrace it, but put it into freaking legislation, the GOP is a husk. Okay, and this is the argument for really who. And I mean who is the constituency of the Rhino-style Republicans. They might be the most unpopular people in the fucking country.
Yep.
Like by a wide margin. I mean, who is Mitch McConnell's constituency? Do people like him? Name me one person that likes this guy. I mean, there's nobody that likes these people.
Natural gas company owners.
Exactly. Yeah,
China.
Yeah.
China loves them. China
That's
loves
right.
all of them.
They operate,
They're collecting their ROI on them. China clearly realizes that every one of these people they bought and made rich and got mansions on the coast and put, banking, massive explosion of their stock and their bank accounts. These foreign countries, specifically China, they know that these people are 80 years old, 75 years old. They're not going to be around very much longer. And so they're collecting those notes. And this is the fight. And this is where I feel like Congress is asleep at the wheel. The Republican Congress is asleep at the wheel because they're not listening to their constituents. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And the constituents are telling people a couple of things, and it's very clear. They need affordability back in America again. They need the borders to be closed. so that jobs can be created and we can have safety in this country. And they want people held accountable.
That's right.
For
I mean,
what the wrongs that have been done to this country and to them. And we can go back a few decades, but more specifically, we can go to 5 years ago. And what took place in COVID, what took the censorship that took place over the last decade, that the very clear breaking of the law that these people meaning Democrats, continue to get waved off, their cases dropped. Walter, you talked about Virginia. We said this on your show, Walter. There was going to be consequences from the election in Virginia because the RNC didn't take it seriously a year ago. And what do you know? Within a week, 2 weeks of the election taking place and the Democrats winning, magically, guess what? The Comey and Letitia James cases were dropped.
That's right.
Right. Mm-hmm. They nationalized that race, and that I put that on the Republican National Committee and the RGA, the Republican Governors Association.
I mean, it's not just them. Okay, it's like the Republican Party generally dropped the ball on that race. They just dropped the ball on the race. They didn't focus on it. They didn't talk about it at all. No one was down there. And it also was not. It's not just them, by the way. The people that were running the consultants for that campaign were terrible. Okay, they were terrible. They decided that they were going to try and run without Trump. And what did you see? A 50% turnout drop amongst Trump's base. That's what you saw. Southwest Virginia didn't show up. Mm-hmm. Hey, you want to go see how that number dropped? Go look in Southwest Virginia. 50% turnout drop in every single one of those counties. That's where your numbers went. By the way, I got a couple people with hands here in the show, so I want to make sure I get to a couple of the people that are up here. Kayla, you've had your hand up for a minute. What's up, Kayla?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for bringing me up, Walter. I really appreciate it. I have come to not only love your show, but rely on it when I have a busy work day. I listen to the recording. So yeah, thank you so much. Anyway, I just have a quick comment and then a question. I've noticed that it seems like the left got their daily email talking points and they don't even bother scrambling words. Right? I am closely monitoring, or it is, I regret to block. It's the same. It makes me want to never look at Twitter or X because I scroll through and it's the same messaging. But what I find interesting, and maybe I just haven't seen it, it's interesting that the narrative and rhetoric today is not about gun reform. That's interesting, right? So I don't know what your thoughts are about that. But my question, and I may have missed it, I came in a few minutes late. I am getting mixed reporting. Do we know the conditions of the two National Guardsmen, or the man and woman?
We don't know the exact condition. It's critical condition is the last statement we have on it. There was somebody that said that Patrick Morrisey, who's the governor of West Virginia, came out and said that they had died. But then they retracted that and they said it's a critical condition. My guess is that you're not going to hear until the families have been notified of what's going on. We're not going to know. They're going to keep it at critical, even if they are passed, because that's just how it should be done. But Morrissey, whoever put that statement out from him saying that they had passed, that was a mistake by their.
That was preposterous. Whoever did that should be fired immediately for misleading, but B for just getting it wrong. I mean, Trump didn't say anything about it. What was that 20 minutes ago?
So, yeah, he didn't say specifically. He just said they were shot. So, again, we don't know. In terms of your previous comment, though, Kayla, about whether or not the Democrats haven't responded to it yet, it's because the Democrats know that this is a horrible thing for them. Okay, this is why they don't want to talk about it yet. They haven't come up with their talking point. They haven't figured out what their spin is yet. So they haven't responded yet. Give it a day or two and they'll come up with their spin. But I'll tell you right now, this looks terrible on them. I mean, they've been talking recently. They've talking about a sedition. They've been talking about, oh my God, disobey the orders and blah, blah, blah. And, this sort of stuff is all played into their narrative that they've talked about for months, that these people are authoritarian. Oh my God, the worst people that have ever existed. And of course, now that this happens, they go, well, oh my goodness. See, this is something that the left doesn't seem to grasp. Okay. So we can talk about this for just a second here, because the left does this a lot. They don't seem to understand at all. They don't understand at all that there is a whole big world out here that doesn't exist in their stupid little political power play. They don't care. That doesn't matter to them. All that matters to them is the power, and that's all they want. And it doesn't matter to them if they have to get through, if they go through if there's major pain that happens to the country. It doesn't matter if other nations rise against us and the rest of the world. All that matters to them is their stupid little political game. They ignore the rest of the problems. They don't care about the rest of the problems. It's irrelevant to them, the rest of the problems. It's a huge problem because they don't understand that if we keep screwing up, our country is going to suffer. But to them, you heard it in the best during the middle of the shutdown. We know that there's going to be a little suffering, but this is the only play that we have. This is what they think. This is what their ideology is. This is what they believe. They believe that it's okay for the American people to suffer so long as they manage to win in the political ends of it. That's what matters to them. That's it. That's the game they're playing.
Because they're living in some kind of mock event.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you get it.
Go ahead, Kayla.
I was just going to say, I've seen a handful of posts already, again, probably in the email thread, right? Where it's like, well, had Trump not illegally deployed them, they'd be home with their families. And it's like, how dare you?
Oh,
how freaking dare you? So if we see all that shit tomorrow or stuff tomorrow,
Hey, listen, I don't know how they're going to spin it, but it's not going to be pretty.
That's real close to she shouldn't have been wearing that skirt.
Yeah, seriously. It really is.
That's what? So the West Virginia National Guard being in the street. I got news for you. The West Virginia National Guard probably goes to DC all the time. It's like down the street.
Yeah, it's literally connected. Like people don't realize how close DC and West Virginia are. It's really
when I went to West Virginia, I drove through Virginia. I didn't even know it. It was like real quick. But when you're talking about this power struggle, it's exactly what it is. It's the ends justify the means mentality. It's a sort of Thomas Hobbes drive for power. If you go all the way back to a guy like Hobbes that said that at the end of power is death. You go all the way until death. And that's why the left never, ever stops pushing. Where on the right, I think a lot of us did this in 2024. We said Trump won, now we're done.
That's right.
Where the left goes, oh, we got Mondani? Okay, good. Who's next? Now we're going after Pelosi's seat. And now we're going after Hochul. And now
the left's machine doesn't stop. They don't stop at all. They don't stop for a second. I mean, this is what I keep telling people is like, listen, guys, the big thing the next thing no one's talking about, the next big thing that's happening is they're going to try and redistrict Virginia. Okay. So there's going to be a constitutional referendum that's brought up in Virginia, and that's in April. Okay. Who's talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
That's what my problem is. Who is talking about this? And so what are we talking about instead? Guys, we don't know if we want to have the Fuentes right be part of the right, or we want these people to be part of the right. Ignore all of that. The left wants to kill you. Okay? That's what I don't see. Like, for people like me, okay, the left has tried to kill me twice this year. Okay? Twice. They've attempted to take my life from me. So I'm not really playing the same game as everybody else said. I'm not playing around. I know what's going on around here. Okay? They had me dragged out of my house in front of my wife and children at 3 a.m. at gunpoint. Okay? I get it. But a lot of these people they live in this bubble that doesn't exist to them. We're just having this policy debate. Sure. You tell that to the people with AR-15s outside of your house at night, okay? That's a big difference in the world when people don't seem to get it. But this is where we live. There's somehow, I don't think you can get it through to people unless it touches them somehow. But how do you see it and how do you not see it now? I mean, how do you not get it? The Jay Jones story should have been enough for everybody. The only reason they brought in, I was so confused by this because, the polls in Virginia, everyone saw them. They were like getting closer. You could see there was a Trafalgar poll that showed within 2 points. And and I was going, well, why is Obama there? Why is all the Democrat stars there? They weren't caring about Abigail Spanberger. They wanted Jay Jones. And why did they want Jay Jones? They wanted to redistrict, and they need the attorney general spot to redistrict. That's the only reason they did it. They were worried that Jay Jones was going to lose because of the big story that came out about those text messages. So they rolled the whole cavalry in, and they won because no one was paying attention.
Meanwhile, you got
Republicans control of Virginia.
Republicans who ride their win from 4 years ago. Guys, I got news for you. What happened in politics in 2001, in 2021, 2022, COVID lockdowns, is not the same world we are currently living in. Yes, Glenn Youngkin won. A, he was a spectacular candidate. B, the guy he was running against, Terry McAuliffe, said perhaps the dumbest thing ever. He was one step away from like the dumbest thing in the history of politics. If you are using polling numbers from COVID era to say, even in New Jersey, which I like Jack got smoked. If you're using those COVID era numbers, you are destined, you are doomed to lose. Because, oh, well, we won, so we don't have to register more voters. We don't have to embrace the turning point chapters. We don't have to be on the colleges. We don't have to go out into the rural communities because we won. Where
it's this stupid idea that the Republican Party has that they think they're popular. They believe that the Republican Party said somehow, oh, well, we're popular. We just won. Did you see how we just won everywhere? No, you didn't. Trump won.
Exactly.
You didn't win shit. Trump did. That's the problem. They don't seem to understand that. And if they don't get their head, like you said, pull head from ass, if they don't figure it out, we're screwed.
There are not 77 million Republican voters in this country.
That's right.
There are 77 million Trump voters.
That's right.
And without him on the top of the ticket in 2028, somebody better hire somebody that doesn't work on K Street. Someone who, I don't know, goes out in the real world, that doesn't live in the Beltway, that, doesn't think we have to.
There's just chat on the bottom here. Don't worry about it.
I thought you were sending me a message.
No. There's chats that show people that are talking to the stream. I can put them up on there.
See, now I know what it's like when I jump into space and I cut people off. Now I know there's somebody on here. I'm cutting off. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
No, you're good, man. So the same strategy you're talking about, Walter, and we talked about this also in the spaces previously, was the same strategy that led to a Governor Laura Kelly in a super majority Republican state of Kansas. It was run away from Trump, run away from MAGA. I mean, it was a horrible advice. It's the same thing that led to Sharice Davids in a Kevin Yoder district. It's the same thing that led to the crew. A lot of these, quote, moderate folks that ran away from MAGA in red districts, and obviously they turned blue because of it. And so these consultants are giving intentionally bad advice because they don't like Trump. They're not involved in the Trump White House. They're cut out of the MAGA version of the Republican Party today, but they are making bank on the rhinos, the established Republicans, the free trade Republicans, neocons. They've made tons of money on through Frank's, the budget in Congress for mailers for members of Congress using our tax dollars. I mean, they have dozens of these members of Congress on their rolls, paying them handsomely, and so that's why they advise these people, and they lose every single time. And so the problem is the consequences are very real. They're going to be fine. It's going to be us, people, everyday common sense folks, that are going to suffer the consequences. For them, it's money and business and a game. For us, it's very real. It's very real life. Like you said, you were dragged out at 3 a.m. They did this to you twice. I mean, like these are all things that are happening, and they have promised, not kind of hypothetically said, they have straight up said, when we get the majority, we're going to expand the Supreme Court. We're going to impeach the president of the United States and prosecute him. And we are going to go after anybody else on social media or in his administration that supported his efforts.
That's right.
They've made it very clear.
Yeah, and one of the frustrating parts, Chris, is I think a lot of the faces that we see around Trump now are some of the people that contributed to a lot of the problems that he had in the first one. And I hate to mention it, but Mark Zuckerberg, well, I don't think he should ever be at the White House.
Listen, guys, one of the biggest things that people just need to realize, and Chris was touching on it, and this is important for people to pay attention to, is that the Republican Party, these consultants that live in this bubble where they think that they can run and do elections without Trump, they're just wrong. Okay, they're just dead wrong. They're dead wrong. And you want a proof of that? Go look at what happened in Virginia. They didn't run with anything to do with Trump. They got trounced. They got trounced horribly. In New Jersey, they sort of did Trump, but they didn't bring him up there. There was no Trump surrogates up in New Jersey. They didn't use him either. So they're keeping moving on this idea that, well, we got to move away from Trump. We can't use Trump to do anything. If you guys want any more proof that Trump is the king of the Republican Party, that there is no challenging him, and if you do, go look at the newest story today. So here's the newest story today from Marjorie Taylor Greene. This woman has had a full crash out over the past, 24 hours, 2 days or so. But this, look at this. Look at how bad this went for Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? She challenged the president. She started counter-signaling him. She kept counter-signaling him. Eventually, Trump got pissed. He eventually got pissed and said, okay, it's Marjorie Trader Brown now, and I'm going to primary you. And then within a week, This is the kind of stuff that you get. So this came out today. I don't know if you guys saw this statement from Marjorie Taylor Greene, but this is the statement she put out today. She started going absolutely ballistic earlier today. She said, typical of Republican men telling a woman to shut up and get back in the kitchen and fix me something to eat. F you in the sweetest, most southern drawl I can enunciate. I've been trying to tell you that men in our kitchen and our pantries is filled with spider webs. And, it just goes on this huge, long rant. And this is the nail in the coffin of her political career. It's over. I mean, listen, it was bad before. She was going to resign. She's already said she's resigning from Congress. But there were still people that were like, oh, I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then she puts this out. It's over. Like, sorry, guys. I hope, good luck to Marjorie. I like Marjorie. I've never been this big, giant, huge fan of hers. Everyone else has been like that. I always kind of saw her as a person that kind of glommed onto the MAGA movement. And that's the reason listen, I'm not from Georgia. I've heard people tell me that she's wonderful. Whatever. Sorry. I've never been the greatest fan of her. Maybe if I met her in person, I'd think differently. Never been the greatest fan of her. Didn't have much of an opinion of her. But after this, okay, so it's been 1 week. Your career is over. Okay, so let's stop playing around and pretending as if Trump isn't the one in charge of the Republican Party. He definitely has his mojo. You piss him off, you're done. And this is what keeps happening. I mean, the Republicans, the old school Republicans, the rhino establishment idiots, they should look at this and remember that all it takes is Trump to snap his fingers and your political career in the Republican Party is dead. But and that's what people should get that message.
But you know what? On that same point, and I've met Congresswoman Greene. She's actually very nice in person. She's jacked. But I do get annoyed a little bit when I see Trump going after Marjorie Taylor Greene and then pretending like Lindsey Graham is the end all be all. When, like, if I ran into Lindsey Graham at a restaurant and he told me the chicken is great here, I'm going to order the fish. Like, I want nothing to do with that guy. That guy would bomb North Carolina if he thought that,
we could get oil out of it.
Yeah, that he's the worst of the worst. And Lindsey Graham is just the obvious one because, bro, it's 2025. Let's come out of the closet already. Like, nobody cares. But, he's the fakest person in politics. And he's part of that whole sort of past establishment of like Hannity and Levin and guys who have like talk radio shows, they are a Timex watch living in a digital age, but for some reason they still control everything we do. And then I see Trump going after Marjorie Taylor Greene because she talked about the importance of healthcare. And I think to myself, I'm like, no. Like, I get you appreciate loyalty, but on the same token, I would much rather have you and Marjorie going back and forth on the importance of healthcare than you agreeing with Lindsey Graham on a ground war in Iran.
Right.
Like,
to me, again, I don't think that what the real thing that pissed Trump off about Marjorie is not that. It's the showing up at the press conferences for the Epstein victims, where in the back of the press conference, you got photos of her, and it says in giant letters, Trump is a pedophile. Showing up, do you think that might make him a little angry, Marjorie? I mean, come on. Come on. Like, how many times are you going to be able to do that and get away with it just because you're like a Republican MAGA star? Okay, eventually Trump's going to get pissed, and that turns out it's exactly what he did. She pissed him off, and she kept pissing him off, and then she goes on The View and says a bunch of stuff, and Trump's like, okay, you're Marjorie Trader Brown now. Get over it. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, even if we don't like, the idea of Lindsey Graham or Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's two different seats, really, okay? So one is a senator, one is a congressman, and at the end of the day, we can replace a congressman pretty easily, and I doubt there's going to be any Democrat that's going to win in Marjorie's district. But at the same time, my problem is, even if you wanted to leave, why didn't you just stay for the rest of your term? Like, why didn't she stay for the rest of your term? And that's what this statement from her earlier today, by the way, is about. If you were going to stay, that's fine. But then this is the response when people said, why don't you finish your term out? Like, just wait till the election. Why are you leaving early? And this is the response we get. So I understand the angst that people have. I mean, thinking that, we like Marjorie Taylor Greene, whatever, she's been a MAGA stalwart the whole time, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, Trump is still trying to get things done, and having people counter signal him on a regular basis, especially on stuff like the Epstein stuff, which is the reason the Epstein stuff pisses Trump off so much is because for anything to do with him specifically, there's nothing to it. But again, the Democrats are playing it up to their whole base and telling everybody that Trump is involved in this somehow, even though he never has been. Even though all the emails they keep releasing have essentially confirming what Trump's story is the whole time. So, it's obviously pissed Trump off to the point that
Except
he's
the ones
okay, I'm
that
done
the
with these people.
Democrats selectively leak.
That's right.
They didn't selectively leak the one about Hakeem Jeffries being invited
That's
to
right.
meet him, or Stacey Plaskett, who I want to be clear is not even a real member of Congress. She's like this much above a member of Congress. She's like this much higher than you and I are.
That's right.
Like, she gets to go in through the special entrance, and that's about it. But there is an update on the shooter.
Oh yeah, what's that?
From Raw's Alert, the suspect in the National Guard shooting served 10 years in the Afghan army alongside U.S. Special Forces. A relative says he has a wife and 5 kids and 5 sons, hadn't spoken to him in months, and doesn't know why he carried out the attack. So
that's nice.
So the plot, who the hell knows now? Wait, what did Sean say? That's my buddy Sean Farris right there.
I have an idea.
You know what? I'm going to screenshot.
Come to mind. I mean, this is the problem.
I'm going to screenshot the screen and go, "Oh look, bro, you can't get away from me. You're still on shows with me."
Okay, we got some hands here on the show here. Southern, you've been trying to get in here for a minute. Go ahead. Southern. Okay. Keymaker, go ahead, Southern. Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, you had me muted. Okay, I'm back. This little incident today, they may have overstepped their boundaries. Stephen Miller came out and said, along with Trump, we are doubling down. We're getting all the illegal immigrants out of the country. This is 100%, and this is what we're seeing now. So Stephen Miller, you know how he can land a plane, made it very clear after talking to Trump, this is not going to happen again. We're going to get these people out. So they may have just overshot what they're trying to do. But what terrifies me is Elisa Slotkin said, we're going to have National Guard killing Americans because they're nervous. I thought that was interesting. Why would she bring up the National Guard of all?
Well, listen, what the Democrats want, okay, and I've said this a lot here recently, this is a gross thing, but this is really what they want, okay? The Democrats, what they actually want, what they're hoping for, is they're hoping for a Kent State moment. That's what they want. Okay, they actually want that to happen. They want a scenario where our guardsmen get in a actual lethal shooting match with people in the street, because that's what they want. I mean, it's a gross and disgusting reality, but that is what they're hoping for. That's what the Democrats want. Or just they're praying that they get that image, that one image of a National Guardsman open firing on people. Like that's what they're hoping for. Like the most recent one, I don't know if you guys saw it the other day. They had one where there was a couple of ICE officers grabbing this guy up in a restaurant, and they were like, he was just an innocent restaurant worker. And then it came out like 2 days later from Tricia McLaughlin. She's like, no, he didn't even work at the restaurant. He had attacked ICE officers and then ran away, and they pursued him and arrested him. And then they took the photo and they used that photo as some propaganda piece. I mean, it's just, this is what their game is. This is what their game is. They don't care. It doesn't matter to them. All they want is they're hoping they get that picture. That's what they want. They want to get their political picture. Okay, Kyle Smiley, you got their hand up. Go ahead.
Kurt, I got to jump real quick. Let me, guys, have a great Thanksgiving. Chris,
thanks for coming on, Kevin. I appreciate you being here, buddy.
Chris, sorry for interrupting you so much. Now I know.
Oh, you're good, Kevin. Don't worry, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you, bro.
Happy Thanksgiving, Kevin.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving, bro.
Okay, go ahead, Kyle Smiley.
So I've been looking into the status of the National Guardsmen. All I can find is that they are currently in critical condition, fighting for their lives. They're still alive, both of them. Can't find really anything else. And I've been looking for basically since I got up to speaker.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure we're going to be able to find direct details. Again, my guess is they're going to leave it as critical condition until there's final details. And if they have passed and whatnot, they're probably going to wait till after they've told the families. So, we'll see. Keymaker, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Hey, Walter. Hey, Chris. I sent both of you guys a DM. Just you guys can check that out. But also, I was just thinking when you were talking about the Afghan stuff. When I was with the TSA, I worked with CBP when these guys were coming in. I specifically remember, and CBP knows this, DHS knows this. I specifically remember some of the Afghanis coming up to us saying, "Hey, that guy's not supposed to be here. He's not part of this team. He wasn't helping America. Like he should not be here." and he had his whole family with him, right? And I think that they addressed a lot of those concerns, but did they address all of them? I don't believe so, and I think we're going to still have even more problems coming from this. And one of the big things I think now is that what we fail to realize is that these people are coming from an environment where they still have family members back home. Sometimes these terrorist organizations will use these different techniques that they have to try and force people into carrying out these actions in order to protect their families back home. And it's, it kind of sounds like fictitious, like movie, like I'm not saying that's what happened to this guy, but the fact that he kind of went away for a few months and he was, disassociated with his family, he did actually help the US and stuff like that. I just think these entanglements are bad. I think that we have a lot of concern right now. I think, about all these people that we let in, not just the Afghanis, but all of these people from all over the place. We don't know enough about them to even let them stay. So I surely hope that they just start throwing these people the fuck out.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the
want.
deal. It's the only answer. You have to get these people out of the country. Okay, I mean, you have to get them out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you think that. My eyes are that almost every single visa that was approved underneath the Biden administration should be revoked. I mean, that's almost where I'm at. I mean, I'm sure there's there's probably like 6 people that are okay, but those 6 people, you already know who they are. Like, I mean, they're nice people and they do something important. Like, outside of that, get them all out. Okay, I mean, it's just to that point. It really is. There was a great image that I think I should bring up on this note. I got a bunch of people who want to request. I'll bring people up if you guys want to join the show. Just put your hands up if you join the show. If you'd like to speak, we'll call on you at some point when we get to the point where we're going back into comments here. But there was an image that came out here earlier from the left. Came out with this story. I think it was in the New York Times. Okay, so I'll put this up on the screen so people can see this. So they have this big chart that they put out. And they're like, oh my goodness, we're deporting people that don't have criminal convictions. This is the worst thing ever. I mean, what was the comments directly from this? It said, "Oh, well, I thought this was supposed to be, the worst. The worst of the worst is who we're getting out." And I think it is interesting. How many times do we have to say mass deportations before you get it? We voted for mass deportations. We weren't kidding. How many times do we have to say it? I mean, I don't understand how oh my God, we're deporting people that don't have criminal records. Yes, they do. They're here illegally. That's a criminal record to me. Get them the hell out of here. I don't care if it is a person who's been here 24 years. It is an old grandma who sits on her porch and talks to kids every single morning. If she's here illegally, I want her ass on a bus. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Sorry, if you've been here that long, you haven't decided to try and go get your citizenship and actually fix your papers, that's your damn problem, not mine. Get out of the country. Okay, we cannot have a middle ground on this. There is no middle ground. There is no middle. Like, we either have borders or we don't. We either have laws or we don't. There's nothing in between. Get them out of the country. There is no way to describe it other than that. Okay, if we want to have a country and we want to have laws, then they have to be followed. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what the scenario is around it. It does not matter. Okay, we voted for mass deportations because there are too many people here illegally. And I've told many people who listen to the show, people who have read my articles that I've talked about this many, many times, there are 50 million people here illegally in this country, and they've been telling us that it is 11 million for 25 years. Okay, they are lying. They know how many people are here. In 2003, there was between 23 and 28 million illegals in the country, and they knew it then. Okay, they knew it then, and they have continued to lie and say it's 11 million since then. Okay, you know what the other number I'd like to know, the real number on? They've also told us that there's only 350 million people in America. And I've heard that since I was like 6. So I don't think that number is accurate either. So I'd like to know how many people actually exist in America as a total. Like, there's no real numbers. And I'm tired of the no real numbers thing, okay? We know the numbers aren't accurate. They know they've lied about statistics for years. And, especially on the illegal stuff. I mean, how many times can you hear 11 million? What is it, just static? They all, like, half, all the ones that come in, the other half leave? No, it's not like that. Okay? There's a bunch of people that I was arguing with a couple days ago talking about this, and they're like, well, Obama was the deporter in chief. No, he wasn't. Okay? That is a lie. Okay? That is a lie that was created by the left-wing media, and they decided, well, he's the deporter in chief. No, he wasn't. Okay? What you need to do, if you want to go look into this yourself, you can. What they did, Obama, he changed the definitions on how things work as under the definition for deportees, okay? So is anybody that arrived at the border and then was turned around and said you can't enter the country, they considered that a deportation then. Okay, that's how his numbers were so high. So many people that showed up at the border and then were immediately turned away, that's how he got his deportation numbers. Okay, but he gutted interior enforcement. Interior enforcement, if you go look at Obama's numbers, it went from about 230-something thousand that were deported in interior from the time of Obama's first term. By the end of it, it was less than 70,000. Okay, so that is what really happened. So he removed interior, and that is building on what Clinton started that, by the way. Clinton's the one that started the gutting of interior enforcement, and that was continued. Bush didn't really bring it back any. He tried to keep the numbers about the same, but then Obama, when he came in, he just dropped those numbers to near zero. And then Biden took that in on the opposite direction and said, I'm just going to import everybody. I'm going to bring 10 million people. I'm going to bring 20 million people into the country. I'm going to figure out the greatest machine that has ever run in the history of the world to bring people to this country and pay them to vote for Democrats. That's what the Biden administration was. It's a criminal enterprise designed to bring voters to the country and then pay them to vote for Democrats. That's what it was. Okay, I've got a bunch of new people on the stage.
And it's also
go ahead.
It's also really quick a total misrepresentation of what the president of the United States said. He didn't say all of these people have come here and they're all committing the worst of the worst crimes. He said they're the worst of the worst that have come from their country into our country. And many of them are committing horrendous crimes. So when a left-wing NGO throws up a talking point in a chart and says only 5% have committed violent crimes that have been deported, it's irrelevant to the point. It's like saying, oh, we deported this many people and of that 5% were in athletic shape. It's not relevant to the point. The point is these people that have come here, I don't care if they work at a restaurant. I don't care if they work construction. I don't care if they're an Uber driver. These people that have come here from prisons in horrible backgrounds. They are not good people, and many of them. Not all of the ones that are here illegal from Mexico in the late 90s when we crashed their economy. Some of those people probably good, but they're still here illegally and they know they're here illegally, right? But the point is, these people are violent, horrible, anti-American people. And they come from socialist, communist countries. They expect socialism and communism to take care of them. They have a whole infrastructure set up for them before they ever even arrive. And they get maximum benefits on our rolls, our tax dollars rolls, maximum benefits, and they never have to refill out anything to requalify. But Americans, heaven forbid, a single mom, gets on one of these situations. She's got to recertify every 6 months. And so this is the problem that we have in this country. And again, it's totally inauthentic and disrespectful by the left.
That's right. Well, I mean, there's another part of this, too. So there's a couple of people that are asking here. There's somebody said, I think there can be more than 50 million people here illegally. So if you guys have never read the article that I have on this, you can go to my page, go to Substack, go to WCDispatch.com, and there's an article called The Biggest Lie in Washington. It's also on X. You can go to my articles on X, and you can read this there as well. So the reason that I say that there's 50 million in the country is because my father created the modern immigration filing system in this country. Okay, so he built it, the entire thing, from the bottom to the top. I mean, all of the service centers, all of the data centers, everything. He wired the entire system. He created the green card printing facility. He built the entire infrastructure. So essentially from mailbox to the time that you apply and actually manage to get to your house when you got your green card, if you did any paperwork, you essentially went through my father's company, okay? So the reason that I say that it's 50 million is because in 2003, there was an internal meeting between INS officials and the top layers of people. This is right before it became DHS, and they were trying to determine how many illegals were in the country. And the reason they were doing that is because George W. Bush, was trying to come up with a new process and a new temporary work visa. It was supposed to be like a secure work visa. It's essentially what it was going to be is another version of a green card. It was going to use the same technology. And the reason that my father was in this meeting is because he was the one who just built all of those facilities. Okay, so they were trying to determine how much effort it would take for them to build new facilities, to be able to stand them all up and then start printing new cards so that people could actually have access to this. And this was going to be a new temporary work visa or a new secure work visa, essentially. So to do that, they had to come up with a working number for the internal review to determine how many illegals were in the country. Okay, so this is 2003. The number that they settled on was between 23 and 28 million. Okay, so that's then. And then what they did from that, extrapolate those numbers forward. Roughly 1 million legal green cards were printed, and INS's internal numbers said that roughly 1 million to 1, it's almost a 1-to-1 on how many illegals enter the country. So you get 1 million green cards, you get 1 million illegals into the country. Extrapolate that forward to when you get to Biden's term, that puts you at roughly 40, and then 10 million come underneath Biden, then you have your 50. Okay, so that's how that number comes along, guys. So if you're curious about that, if you were asking about that, that's where that comes from. Okay, I have a couple new speakers on the show. Alpha, I have no idea how you say your name because I can't read all the random symbols in it. So what's up, Alpha? You are unmuted now. You can go ahead.
That was a hard cut. You know me before, Walter. My account got nuked. It used to be Kurt. Now I'm this silly pseudonym. Good to see you going strong. You probably don't remember 3 to 6 months ago, but a question for you. I hear there's a sad shooting today. Thanksgiving, I'm a bit hazy on the significance cultural. Is it like Australia Day? Is it your national day? Is it a religious? Is it particularly sad that this has happened? The threat of terrorism on your national Thanksgiving Day there?
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be. It is a national holiday, and it is a significant day because many people spend it with their families. There's big Thanksgiving meals and whatnot. And yeah, I do remember you, Kurt. So it's good to hear from you again. But it is a national holiday, and it is a lot of people that actually sit down with their family. So it is a pretty significant thing that it happened the day before. It is tragic, and it is horrible, and it's going to hurt people a lot more because of that. So that is true.
Yeah, that's really all. Just thoughts, prayers. It's just out the blue, and I only realised slowly the Thanksgiving. So I have the sort of Hollywood romantic comedy version of Thanksgiving. So it's just sort of like a bittersweet thing of tragic, bizarre violence, you know.
Yep. Well, it's horrible. So, okay, Southern, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
Just real quick, one of the guardsmen is Andrew Wolf, West Virginia National Guard. He is in critical condition. The other one is also from West Virginia, but I can't find him. But I did find Andrew. But he's definitely in critical condition. He's a nice looking young man. This is very sad. This is very sad.
Yeah, it's tragic.
My understanding is the other one's a female, actually.
I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
that's what.
Oh, you do know? Oh, okay. I can't find her. This is the only one I've been able to find.
Yeah, I mean, guys, it's a tragic scenario, and I hope that if they're both in critical condition, or I mean, I hope that they both pull through. I mean, everyone should be praying for their families, pray for them, pray for all of our law enforcement, because this is the crazy stuff that they have to deal with on a regular basis. Okay, let's see here. We've got a couple new people on the stage here. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
There's a question. I was in another space, and I was working. And someone said that the people that came in on the plane from Afghanistan, that whole messy exit, they were immediately moved through. They weren't really vetted. And what happened is when they did get vetted, if it looked like it was going to be messy, they took them out of the U.S. and then brought them back in. Is that true?
That I'm not sure about. I'd have to look into the details on that. Now, I've heard that there was a bit of that it was controversial how they managed to bring those people in because there wasn't a proper vetting. I did hear that, but I didn't hear about the idea of moving them out and then bringing them back in. I didn't hear that, so I don't know the full details on that.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you from firsthand experience from someone that is a relative of mine that was involved, that there was, and Keymaker, you were a CBP, so there was, I think, his unit had that they assigned to do this had I think 30 people, and they were assigned like tens and tens of thousands of applicants, and they had like a very small window to review it. It was statistically impossible. And
Yeah, they do an excellent job. I was with the TSA, but I worked with them. They have like a very specific program at CBP. So I want to make this clear. Like, if they are here, we have their biometrics, their fingerprints. We know who they are now, right? But it's a lot of the data about that they were bringing in is the questionable stuff. That was kind of where the frustration that you were just talking about, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, it was said to me, and like a direct quote was, "It's not realistic for us to vet like it was like something like 30% of them, 20% of them were actually vetted like a standard, like you could go through everything. And part of the reason why is because, and this is the same thing with the Somalis, by the way. Part of the reason why is because they come from tribal countries. They don't have birth dates. You don't have a background. They didn't go to school. Most of them can't even read. You know what I mean? Like, this is the reality. So how are you going to vouch for something like that? And
The
so,
reality is, you need to look at the Islamic element and what they study and what they research and what they
but it's
believe.
not relevant to
And
whether they, that was not considered and factored into the situation. I would
oh,
believe some of that. But the point, I'm just making the
Guys,
point that
guys, hey, listen to me. If you were on my show, never interrupt some of the speakers. You have to remember this show is not just being broadcast in the space. This is not a normal space. This is a show that is broadcast on multiple different platforms. If you interrupt, no one in the other spaces can have any idea what you're saying. So just keep that in mind, guys. So keep your hands up if you want to talk. You're welcome to talk, and I'll call on you at some point, but just don't just randomly interrupt because nobody can hear you.
Yeah, so I'm talking about the procedures that took place through this process. This is the reality. This is the facts. It was a very minute amount of these folks in a very short window of time that were thoroughly vetted. Everybody else came in under the good faith that they were help the United States soldiers in that moment. And we know that just happens to not be true.
Okay. So we've got a couple of different hands here. So we've got, let's see here. There's a new speaker on the stage here. Sleepy Selfie Stick. What's up, dude?
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me up, Walt. You're very intelligent. Just the only reason I came up was to say that I believe that it's the third term of Obama, and you keep saying the Biden administration.
Well, that's accurate. I mean, he was an auto pen, so true.
And I know you're super smart, and I know that. So I don't mean to be, ripping on any of your anything. But the other thing is that when they came out with the statistic of 13,000 known murderers, that was the one that shocked me. And they knew it that when they came across the border. And so that's kind of shocking, right? And then when Jen Psaki said that they were thoroughly vetted in her, rants behind the thing. So, but that was pretty much all I had to say. And, we the people have to stand up against, this tyranny. It's basically sedition going on, because if you include the media and all these elected servants speaking so negatively against our constitutional republic, it's the definition of sedition. And we the people are going to have to fight back. And how we do it is through the grand juries eventually. But I'm hoping President Trump comes up and really, puts a squashing to this. And thank you for having me up, you guys. It's good to see you. It's a super intelligent conversation.
Appreciate you coming up, your selfie stick. Okay, Zen, you got your hand up. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I just heard about the soldiers being shot in D.C., National Guardsmen. Does anyone know if they were armed and what the circumstances were?
Yeah, I mean, yes, they were armed, and as far as I'm aware, that they shot back. So that's the current standings of it is both of them are in critical condition. But yes, they were armed. Yes, they shot back. But it's still, it's a terrible tragedy regardless. Okay, guys, hold on a minute here. George Santos, how are you, my friend? How are you doing this evening?
Walter, how are you? By the way, sorry I missed you today.
No problem.
My day's been a little wild, but I wanted to join your space here because the conversation's so serious and so deep. First of all, I wanted to start off by saying my heart goes out to the families of these guardsmen and really to the American people. I think we're at a point where we need to cool down the temperatures of rhetoric, of hate, of divisiveness, and also we need to really assess what lies within our country right now. And that's really where my heart's at, because I think it's concerning. We've come to a very concerning point, and it's something I can't believe is happening, but it is at the same time. And but to talk about something that I saw circulating today was it's going to be a little unpopular take, Walter. So brace yourself.
Doesn't matter to me, buddy. Go ahead.
I think that because one Afghan immigrant did this doesn't mean all Afghan immigrants are bad. And I want to preface that because I think it's important. I don't think this gives us the pass for open season, but it does give us probable cause to question and to hold accountable and to see what can be done to vet these people better moving forward and to see if they do even get to stay here. So I'm in a position of let's not make this open season. I'm from New York. After 9/11, I saw and witnessed some things that I disagreed with. I understood why, but I disagreed with, and I don't think we should make the same mistake. That's all I'm saying. And I can get the thumb, Elizabeth. You can thumbs me down from here to next Tuesday, and I respect that thumbs down. It's just how I feel, and I think
Well,
it's something.
George, I think the way that I'm looking at this is, I think that all visas that came underneath the Biden administration should be looked at with a freaking microscope. That's what I think.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Biden admin visa admissions and all TPS status people TPS I would revoke every last one of them.
Yep.
Okay. Just because they were done under the Biden admin, and I would reprocess every last one of them to see which ones are applicable for reprocessing. As far as visas, I would reconsider every single visa that was issued between the years of 2021 and 2024.
That's right.
And I say that just because I understand. I sit here and I'm gonna be a little more arrogant than I should, but I understand the visa process more than the layman. Just because of the simple fact, A, I was a congressman. B, I also have a lot of immigrants in my family. I come from an immigrant family. I'm first generation born American, so I understand the visa regulations fairly well. There's abuse in so many verticals of visas, but I believe that under the Biden administration, the visa fraud that took place specifically under J1 and EB 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is not something people talk about. Nobody really understands them. That's where I would focus a lot of the fraud, and obviously the B1, B2, which is the most common tourist visa, right? We should have that conversation, Walter, and I'm 100% with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the visa fraud is extensive across the Biden administration, and the biggest thing to me is the asylum seekers. Listen, the amount of people that they brought in under the asylum program is insane. Okay, it was insane, the amount of people they brought here under that program. And the TPS status one, yes, I agree, needs to be revoked for almost pretty much everywhere. I mean,
I would revoke it for everywhere and then do a readmission process.
Yeah, I think the white South African farmers, we can keep that one. How's that? We can keep that one outside
Honestly,
of that?
Walter, I'm going to say this. Every single TPS status should be revoked, and every single one should apply for readmission. Even the white South African farmers, even the people in Haiti, even the people from Cuba and Venezuela, every single one of them need to be revoked and reapplied for to reevaluate their cases. Because even within the South African situation, I can tell you there was people who infiltrated that process in order to get here. I'm just being very pragmatic.
Well, I mean, that's fine with me. I'm talking about the ones that Trump just recently started issuing for the people that are being slaughtered there. That's a different. Yeah, all Biden era visas need to be revoked. Is like I think we're on the same page there. Yeah. And what you were saying before about Afghan immigrants and whatnot, it's like, I do know some people that were literally Afghanis that they actually fought with our special forces and they were actually good people. So I do know some of these people. And now the strange thing about it is this story is actually one of those guys. Apparently, at least that's what the current information is, which makes it concerning. Makes it very concerning.
You're saying that one of the guys, you're saying that the shooter this evening is a former U.S. asset from Afghanistan?
Yep.
Look, if that pans out, it's so recent. I would really give it a day or two before.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going on any of the information yet until we get full confirmation on all this stuff.
Yeah, but until that is confirmed, I want to take a neutral position. But if that comes to be confirmed, we have a major issue on our hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Major issue on our hands.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he's not the first, though.
Yep.
He's not the first. There's been others that served alongside as translators that served alongside our troops. That one of them shot a highway patrolman, killed him. I mean, there's a few of these examples, and so I mean, and I'm not advocating for all of these for all of the fun, even the ones that were with our soldiers and their families to go back to the Taliban, where the horrendous things are going to happen to their wife and daughters and kids. What I'm saying is, we got to kind of separate some things, put them under review. If they served with soldiers, I'm sure that there are multiple soldiers in a unit that are going to vouch for them.
That's right.
And outside of that, the rest are all in question.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, to me, I think the biggest thing is the Biden administration didn't do any vetting. Okay, and that's the biggest problem with it. And you mentioned the idea from they didn't do any vetting. I mean, Obama had a bunch of problems with this as well. By the way, I mean that's obviously true. Obama had a huge problem with this, but this is to me the Biden administration is the most obvious. Okay. And the Haiti stuff, guys, like the Haitian immigrants, no, okay, get the TPS out of that because all they're doing here is just soaking up the welfare system. That's literally the only thing that I see them doing here. Okay, here's the biggest problem with the Haitian the population they brought in, specifically in Ohio. I have a firsthand insight into this. Okay, all of the factories that Trump built, that showed up under the Trump 1.0, the moment they finished building them, it was roughly around 2020 when they finished building them, and then in 2021. Biden staffed all of those factories with Haitians. Okay, so that's a huge problem. I mean, that's like none of the American citizens out in the Midwest managed to get access to those jobs because they staffed them with workers that they brought in under the asylum program. It was terrible. It's one of the worst things they've ever done. It's pissed people off out here beyond all belief. Okay, so I do have another hand on this page. What is up, Elizabeth the Honest?
Hey, thanks for having me up. It's lovely to speak to you and everyone here. God bless America, and I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I've been a volunteer for the Liberal government in Australia for a very long time, so I've been watching global politics for a very long time. I'm also 38 years old, so I remember seeing 9/11 happen, which was horrendous, and that it kind of woke me up to what Islam was. These guys, it's Obama, it's Biden. They were training Afghani soldiers, which you probably already know, but this is a problem for you guys now because they've been military trained by America, by Biden, which we knew it was a bad idea. We knew, we were going, what is America doing over there training and giving them all this military tech, and trying to train them, to go against the Taliban when we've seen stuff in Syria where Khamenei and his lot have overtaken any military, backing that the Iranians had that were not against that were against them. And I'm sitting there going, well, this is a bad idea. So, these guys, they don't want to, they've destroyed themselves. Their ideologies destroyed their countries. They've got nothing else. They've got no other women. So they're coming now to the West. They're going to say anything possible. They're going to pretend to be victims and try and get people's sympathy. I've just come from another space where they're gaslighting them and saying, oh, not all Muslims are bad. Rah, rah, rah. Well, I'm sorry, but they're here to try and take advantage of anyone possible to try and stay alive. They are not good people. You cannot trust them.
Okay, so guys, I have a couple updates here that I need to bring up here. So, one, somebody has said that the Border Patrol commander has come out saying that the Guardsman shooter was here illegally. That hasn't been confirmed yet. So, again, this is why we're talking about this. People are saying that this guy was some special forces guy and whatnot. That this information is all new. Okay, so again, I agree with what George Santos said just a minute ago. We need to wait till we've actually confirmed some of this stuff. But USCIS has just said this statement just a moment ago. This is 13 minutes ago, so I'm going to read this out here, guys. Effective immediately, the processing of all immigration requests relating to Afghan nationals is stopped indefinitely pending further review of security vetting protocols. The protection and safety of our homeland of the American people remains their singular focus and mission. That's USCIS. So that is a new statement from them, but I have not seen this statement out of the Border Patrol commander coming out saying that the shooter was here illegally. I have not seen that yet. If you guys have that, send that to me. Post that down in the bottom of the purple pill there, and I'll take a look at that. So I'll wait until we actually get data on that.
Walter, really quick. So just to, again, all non-confirmed at this point, but I know Mike Davis and Sean Spicer both reported or stated on their platform that this individual, according to their sources, his visa had expired and he had overstayed his visa. How long that's been, I don't think anybody's confirmed any of that yet. But if that's true, then technically he is here illegally at that point, right?
Okay. So yeah, I haven't seen that yet. So hold on.
Ramanullah Lackawanal was an Afghan national who came to the United States on a special visa program for individuals who assisted the U.S. military during the Afghan War. The special immigrant visa program is intended for Afghans who faced a risk of retaliation from the Taliban due to their work with U.S. military forces or government agencies. He had overstayed his visa, and FBI is investigating the shooting as a potential act of terrorism.
Okay. Yeah, so this is, again, so we this is all new information. Where's that out of, Pepe?
That was sourced from Toronto Star, police officers that made the arrest, and Live Mint and Market Screener.
Okay. Yeah. So it looks like that might be true. But again, if he's overstayed his visa. So, Tom, you've got something for this. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I think it was overstates in September. I just wanted to add that in there. That's what I had read earlier. Of course, we'll wait for all these details to get verified, but this is just what it's looking like right now.
Okay. Yeah. So again, we'll wait until we get all the final details on this. But obviously, if this guy was here illegally, this is just yet another reason why we need to get the deportations need to ramp up. If you were here illegally, you need to be out of the country tomorrow. Unfortunately, we can't deport everybody here instantaneously, and it actually would never be possible to do so based on how many people are actually here. But, and the best we can do is get rid of the people that are a serious threat. And I think the people that are the serious threat are the people that showed up in the last 4 years under the Biden administration, because I don't think they did any vetting whatsoever. That's what I think. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Start with those people, and then we'll work our way backwards from there. Okay, so
I look at Biden too. I look at Obama too.
I can't understand what you just said.
And also, really quick, Walter, I don't know if you saw this, but Secretary of War Pete Hegseth stated that because of the incident, it only has strengthened their resolve, and they plan to add another 500 troops, National Guardsmen, to Washington, D.C.
That's good.
220,000 already deployed, brother.
Yeah, I mean, this is necessary at this point. I mean, listen, I don't think we're going to back down at all on this. This is probably the best way to go about it. So there is something else now that we can move on a little bit just here. There's something I want to talk about that was super important that not a lot of people paid attention to this story today. So I'm going to put this up on the screen for people to see this. Apparently, there is a billboard. Now, I don't know where this billboard was, but apparently this is directly after the sedition stuff. The Seditious Six came out here and said their recent statements. And now there is a billboard taking you to a website saying, did you go airborne just to pull security force for ICE? Okay, so it says notwhatyousignedupfor.org is the name of the website. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because, one, that's insane that there's a billboard up here in the first place that even says this. But if you go to the website it says is not what you signed up for. You've seen the billboard, you're not alone, but you have questions, and then it gives you direct information and direct instructions on how to create encrypted communications directions. I mean, it tells you how to set up a VPN, how to use a Proton email, how to use a NordVPN, make sure you don't use anything that's connected to any government computer or anything. This right here, I hope this is I hope this is an intentional trap or something set up by our own government, because if it's not, someone needs to answer some questions on where this came from. This is, if you guys haven't seen this yet, go to my page. I have this up here. I'll actually put it up in the top so people will be able to see this. But to me, and the reason I'm bringing this up now is because just last week, the Democrats had this giant statement, this ridiculous video that they put out, and everyone starts talking about it. This big video comes out, and then you go look at the information on this. This, to me, shows that this was all a coordinated effort, and it's designed to seed doubt in our military. Now, even if it's not directly connected to the Democrats who said this, I don't care, because this is the reason that you can't let stuff like this slide. This is why you can't. You have to have some sort of accountability for the people who did this, because now this is showing up. Okay, this is a huge problem. This is why you can't allow people to seed doubt into our military, because if you let people glom onto that, then it grows. Well, now there's a whole website. Now there's a whole bunch of information on it. That's not good. Okay, trying to get to seed doubt in our military, guys. Our military has a very, very important purpose. Okay, and it is to kill our enemies and keep the country safe from major threats. Okay, we don't want to upset that, and not only just upset that, but actually seed doubt in it to make people defect in our military. That is insane. Okay, that is insane. That is why what they said last week was such a problem, even though they claim, oh my God, we didn't say anything wrong. Look, I don't care. Mark Kelly is a retired Navy officer. He should be court-martialed. Okay, he should be court-martialed. He should. I mean, and so the guy running for Congress, this is one that didn't get as much attention, Ojeda. Ojeda should be court-martialed tomorrow. Okay, that guy was even worse. He came out there and said that Trump is a criminal and that everything that he's ever said is an illegal order, essentially. Ojeda should be arrested tomorrow. He's also a retired officer. This is stuff that you can't let slide. Okay, it's one thing, and the Democrats are thinking about it the wrong way. They're thinking about this as if this is some sort of political play by the Trump administration. I don't see it as political at all. I don't. I see it as a military issue. Okay, you're trying to harm military readiness. I see it as a major problem for our military and armed forces. If you're trying to dissuade people from following lawful orders and trying to dissuade morale within our troops, not a good thing. I don't care what side of the aisle on. If a Republican said anything like this, I'd say the same thing. Court-martial them. Okay, so we have to have some form of accountability for this, because now that I saw this post today, this billboard that's gone up and its directions on how to make encrypted software and encrypted, communication lines and whatnot, guys, you can't let this sort of stuff, you can't let it grow. Okay, you have to nip it in the bud today, and it has to be dealt with. Whoever put this sign up, they should be arrested. I mean, that's the way I look at it. So if you guys have comments on this, I'd like to hear what people have to say on this, because this is ridiculous.
Walter, No Rose from Spaces. She went back. I shared it up in the nest at the top there. This Win Without War organization is another one of these leftist air quote NGOs. They announced in a press release October 9th, 2025, that they were going to launch these billboards and other things across the country in strategic places. It's worth noting this billboard that was photoed is near Fort Bragg, which obviously has, in some ways, has dealt with a lot of issues as it relates to attacks and other questionable things. But the point is, obviously, it was coordinated. I mean, there's anybody who understands operations, democratic operations in particular. I happen to be fancy of that, considering my past. I will tell you, it's not a coincidence that you have Mark Kelly, Slotkin, and a couple of others that put this video out weeks after these billboards start to get rolled out. This is a message that was been sent out across the United States. This is one of their talking points, because the National Guard has protected ICE. They are anti-ICE. They want to demask ICE. They want ICE to leave illegals alone, because these folks are taking MS-13 and Tren de Aragua and all these folks out of the country, which, let's just be real, is a voting block for them. And so they're this is not a coincidence there. I will also point this out. Judge Boasberg, your favorite judge, Walter, is also set to rule on bringing those 130 Tren de Aragua members back into the United States. They're expecting he's going to rule to demand that happens. So this whole coordinated effort is underway. My hope is that with these investigations, they start to freeze assets and start to hold people accountable. You cannot do this. I mean,
That's what my point
Congress,
is. You cannot do this at all. But the billboard thing, like putting up signs around the country trying to get our military to defect, that is not, you can't do that. Okay, like we can't just have this. Like we can't just let random NGOs, leftist NGOs, work with the Democrats to dissuade morale in our military. Now, the one thing that's insane. Please don't interrupt, guys. If you have something to say, keep your hand up, and I'll call on you here. But listen, if you can't allow this. You can't allow our military to have morale issues or have people try to see doubt in our military. This is crazy. What are you doing? Like, how are we even allowing this in the first place? Destroy the billboards, for one. I mean, that should be the first thing that happens. And somebody already said that in one of the chats. Yeah, take the damn billboards down today. But whoever put them up, that organization should be seriously looked at for trying to dissuade military. I mean, I don't understand how that's not a direct violation of some law. I'm sure it is somewhere. I'd be very surprised if it isn't. Okay, I've got a ton of hands here. Go ahead, Keymaker.
No, sorry, I had some trouble unmuting. I sent you a couple DMs, but yeah, I think this is an important story that you're talking about. There's so many different topics I'm looking into right now, so I'll let you go to a different hand right now. But when you get a moment, check the DMs, you and Chris. I think there's a lot more to these things that are going on right now. But this billboard one, this one pissed me off to no end, because I wasn't thinking it was that long. But like Chris just mentioned it's definitely something that was in the works. It didn't just randomly become this seditious 6 video that we seen, right? Like this has been going on, and it seemed like they were ramping up. So it's aggravating.
Even Senator Ruben Gallego, slipped up on an interview and said that they have marching orders, like they have talking points, and this is the reality. We've talked about this. These are the same donors. If we pull the reports, I think we're going to find the same donors that gave to Indivisible, that gave to all these other organizations, that were directly behind the fire bombings of Tesla facilities, that were directly behind the attacks on ICE. You guys remember the footages of rocks and all kinds of crap, being thrown in attacks on ICE soldiers in Los Angeles and in Chicago and all these other areas. Like, these are groups that are funding this, and this is not hyperbolic. This is just reality. The average Democrat in Middle America does not support the attack on law enforcement officers. They don't support illegal immigration. They don't support these things. So why do they have to have them? It's my personal opinion. When you see the way that Slotkin, the video that was put out, these are not dumb people. Slotkin was CIA. This Kelly was, obviously in the military, but doesn't mean he's not NDI, right? And so the point is, they are literally running in a classic color revolution operation, influence operation, right now in front of us. And the streets these folks are strategically paid protesters and disruptors. These videos are coming out at the same time, the billboards, and then they're shopping these judges in a circle every single time to shut down every single order. I wouldn't be shocked if we start to get orders about, them not being able to take care of National Guard troops that are injured. This is how crazy these judges are becoming. And it's not by accident. This is by design. So the only way to stop this is to meet it with the reality that it is. And you have to freeze these assets. You have to hold people accountable that are involved in this, unfortunately. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to escalate some tensions. But what else is going to happen? What else can you tolerate? What's the precedence that's allowed here?
And that's the point, really. I mean, that's the deal. I mean, you can't allow it. I mean, this sort of stuff showing up all over the country, you're 100% right. This is coordinated. Okay, this isn't like this just showed up out of nowhere. There's somebody who already was asking, like, what's the lead time on a billboard, like something like this? Yeah, I mean, how about a website that is designed and already has all the information pre-built into it? It's got a nice website, it's a pretty nice design. It teaches you how to set up an encrypted channel. Okay, like, this was obviously something that was set up before, and they moved it forward. And then now they've had this, like, this is obviously something. And there was actually a couple of people that mentioned that. They said, what are they preparing for? What are they doing? Like, what are they getting ready for when they had that Slotkin video came out? But now with this billboard, if there's more than one of these, if these things are all over the country right now, then now you know what's going on. They're trying to get people to defect in the military. They're trying to get people to defect. They're trying to get people to come forward. They're trying to get whistleblowers. They're trying to get something, because to them, all they care about is trying to get some sort of power. And I don't know what this game is, but this is not a game I'm thinking I'm willing to play. Okay, destroy these freaking billboards. Go find this company and haul them into court. I mean, this is not a game. I mean, again, everyone's like, oh, it's partisan, it's politics. Like, no, it's not. This has nothing to do with politics in my eyes. This is our military people. They've got a very important job. I mean, let's not forget that right now, our military, half of the fleet is right outside Venezuela. We might be doing military actions in Venezuela today. This could be happening currently. We're blowing boats out of the waters now. Okay, this stuff is happening right as we speak. Okay, so this is a weird thing to all come out at the same time as we're in the middle of having military action down in Venezuela. Don't you think this is a bit strange that we're suddenly, just out of nowhere, right before we have this military incursion into Venezuela, that all of this stuff shows up? We've got things talking about defect. We've got we've got senators and congressmen coming out saying we've got your back if you want to step away and you want to be a whistleblower of some kind. Guys, this is obviously coordinated, and I don't know. To me, what kind of cartel money funds this win with war or win without war? I mean, like, let's look into that. That's my first question. Okay, I've got hands here. Nighthawk, go ahead.
Yeah, this kind of demoralizing thing here. It reminds me of a book I read back in college called The Battle Cry of Freedom by James McPherson. One of the things that was mentioned in the book was Abraham Lincoln did not put up with people being anti-war. He jailed their asses if they tried anything like that. He kept them out of the street. I don't know why we can't just go back to that. I mean, we have had this previous president do it.
Well, I mean, listen, the one thing I'll say is that, to me, I look at this scenario. And someone the other day was arguing with me about this. They were saying, well, what is going on with, what are we talking about? What would George Washington have done during this scenario? Why did Trump say that he might have hung them in that scenario? It was like, because George Washington, if you said anything seditious, would have shot you on the front lawn of the White House. Let's not be coy here. What are you talking about? Like, what? You think our founding fathers would have played games? They would have hung you. You would have been given a pistol, told to walk 12 paces and duel on the front steps of the White House the following day. So I love that people are, oh my goodness, well, how could Trump say that our founding fathers would do that? Because they would have. You're lucky we don't live in a time where you're allowed to duel people. Otherwise, it would already happen by now. My God. Okay, we've got another hand here. So Elizabeth, you're trying to get in here. What's up, Elizabeth?
So I just wanted to finish off my point before. Don't be like England and naive to think that you can trust them when you can't. They had the same issue. Oh, people coming up after a terrorist attack each week. Oh, nothing to see here kind of attitude. And then they would have another terror attack a week later. This is the same thing that's happening in America, and it'll get worse. So don't keep a blind eye to it. You know, and this, I think it's connected, what you're talking about now. I think it could be connected. I'm hoping that the war in Venezuela isn't a distraction so that the people inside of America are going to be put under attack by the Democrats and the Islamists.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Again, my thought is here, you know, the Islamist is one thing, guys, but like this is a whole different scenario, okay? The Islamist is not what's doing this right now. Okay, this is a action from people within our own party, in our own government. You know, these are people that are intentionally trying to subvert things that we're doing right now. Okay, so this isn't from some Islamist group. Okay, this is sitting senators on the Democrat side coming out and saying this sort of stuff. Okay, so we've got a couple of guys. They could be connected, but that's a whole huge stretch that we're not trying to go into right now. Okay, Katie, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Two quick questions. Has anyone notified, law enforcement, military about these billboards? Hopefully they already know.
I hope so.
Formal investigation.
Is there already a formal investigation into it? I haven't seen that yet.
I believe so. Yeah, I think I'll pull the I think it was from the Secretary of War when it first broke. It obviously gained fire today because Tim Pool actually went to the website and showed what the website said. And so that's obviously got everything blowing up big time. And of course, given the horrible and horrible things that happened today, right? But yeah, I believe there is. I'll pull the link though.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So I hope there's an investigation into it because whoever did this, yeah, they should be in prison in my eyes.
Hey, Walter, to add to your point there about George Washington, he ordered the hanging of Thomas Hickey, a member of his personal guard, for his role in a plot to assassinate and kidnap him. And he also ordered the hanging of British Major John Andre for espionage in connection with Benedict Arnold's conspiracy to surrender the fort at West Point. And he ordered all off-duty military to witness it so that way they would know what would happen.
Again, we're not going to play the game where we think that the founding fathers wouldn't have just executed these people, because they would have. I mean, it's a silly notion that they wouldn't have done that. Okay, so we've got Southern's had her hand up forever. Go ahead, Southern.
Really quick, Walter. Really quick. Let me say this real quick. Harry S. Truman, more recently, had a loyalty test in his administration and in the military. They had to literally sign on the dotted line that they were going to be loyal to him and his administration because they just had come out of, we're in the midst of the world wars, and there was a pushback and a rise of communism. Right. And so you had this instance, and Harry S. Truman, a Democrat president, literally had a loyalty test.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the concept that we need to be, this stuff has not happened before. It has happened before. Okay. So we're not going to pretend it hasn't. Okay. Southern, you've been trying to get in here. So go ahead.
Just about these billboards, there's DC, the Caribbean at the U.S. Southern Command, Memphis, Chicago, and also Camp Lejeune. They're focused on National Guard and ICE. And then where they can put them near the military bases or off the highway, there's also one in Texas that's out as well. This is, and I just find it really specific that Alicia Slotkin used the National Guard as her example, might shoot nervous Americans. This is a setup.
Of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, that's the problem with it. Okay. And this is why it's obviously all coordinated now. This stuff that happened today is obviously, this is probably a wrench in that whole idea for them, because it's not a great thing that happened today, obviously. So, this is the whole idea of trying to dissuade people from being in our military, and to somehow, believe it's a good thing to demoralize our military is insane and not political. Anybody who does it should be prosecuted. I mean, it's not a political decision here. I don't care who does it. Doesn't matter if it's Republican, Democrat. I don't care if you're a random civilian. You shouldn't do it. Okay. Jared Silver, go ahead.
Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving Eve to all who celebrate. Horrific day in our nation's capital right now. Today, I've been dissecting this, reading all of this, speaking with so many people about the tragic event that happened. Tragic event. Obviously, these two service members, being National Guard, one being male, one being female, are still with us right now. So thank the Lord for that. We asked these men and women to go protect, right? To go defend our country, right? And then we see what happens in our nation's capital, which is just pretty sad. So evidently, I was reading a lot. So apparently, I don't know if this is even classified as an illegal immigrant issue, because for one, it's being reported that, and there'll be a press conference in the morning just so everyone knows, but it's being reported that, this is an Afghan national man who came from Afghanistan. He served, I believe, he worked with U.S. soldiers for 10 years in the army, not in our army, and then came to this country and resided in Washington State. I guess his family, he has a wife.
So Jared, we've already gone over all the details on this, and what the
Sure.
current information on this, as of what the most recent stuff that we have on this, is that apparently his visa was expired, but there's still questions about what his current legal status was. But regardless of it, I mean, it doesn't really matter. He obviously just did this, so it's irrelevant at that point. We just need to figure out what needs to happen to him. So.
Yeah, obviously, absolutely. But I think a lot of people are asking the question on why did both administrations let this individual in, right? Were there warning signs? Were there red flag law? Were there warning red signs?
Both administrations. What do you mean both administrations? You mean one administration?
I mean both? No. I mean, well, if I can break it to you here. So it's being reported that the Trump administration approved this suspect's asylum earlier this year as well. So he's not an illegal immigrant, quote unquote, illegal immigrant as of today. The Biden administration approved it last year, and so as the Trump administration approved it this year. So I think this also falls on incompetent Kristi Noem's fault as well. So all of this is going to come to
well,
fruition.
We'll have to wait until I see that, because I haven't seen that from anybody at all, actually. So
I'll
have to wait until
all on the yeah. I'll DM it to you right now. It's being reported. CNN security team has verified this. So as
Oh, that's
ABC News.
CNN. That says it all. All right.
Listen,
Well,
guys.
I mean,
Again, guys, I'm not going to argue about it, because to me, all information on this is still speculative. All of it is. Okay,
Sure.
and so until we get full details, as far as I'm aware, the current information that I have is that this guy came in underneath the Biden administration. That's what the president said. So I'm going to go with what the president said over anybody else. So that's what I'm going to go with. But we'll wait and see until we see the rest of the details on him. But again, tragic scenario. So, but we've already kind of gone through most of the details on this. We're talking about this billboard that we found earlier today. Now, Jared, if that's what the current topic is. Katie, you have your hand up. You can go ahead and comment on this if you'd like to.
Yes, related to the billboards and Alyssa Slotkin's message on, I think it was ABC, she specifically talked about quote unquote Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela. I know that when Obama was president, he literally killed a U.S. citizen with his unapproved drone attacks in the Middle East. Those hundreds of drone attacks. So I don't think there is any legal precedent for this. This seems like a lie that she's putting out there, but is it? Meaning, is this a concern that we have, or that she has, or is this the reason that she's using to then basically make law enforcement and ICE and federal and
this is what my comment's been the whole time, guys. This is why I said this edition video was such a problem. Okay, this is why I said it was such a problem, because we're in the middle of stuff going on down in Venezuela. Okay, so trying to dissuade people from doing anything down in Venezuela. Why are you doing that? We're in the middle of a possible military incursion down there, and you're saying things about our military. Maybe you should shut up. We're probably in the middle of something pretty important. Do you think the whole fleet is in Venezuela because of Maduro? Like, really? Like, the Venezuelan military doesn't exist. What do they have? They got nothing, okay? Guys, there's obviously something bigger than just Maduro going on down in Venezuela, okay? We don't send half the fleet. We don't send our largest aircraft carrier in the planet down there just because we don't like what Maduro's doing. Okay, there's something else going on. And if you think that it's not something, like, why do you assume that you just, you're like, oh my goodness, it's the end of the world. We're blowing up boats that are bringing in drugs into this country. One, blow up more of those boats. Kill every single one of those freaking boats tomorrow. I don't care. Like, I mean, if you think that this is a bad thing to destroy the drug dealers that are coming into our country, you have not witnessed what the drugs have done to this country. If you think that,
No,
okay,
I'm not.
no, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you specifically. Okay, I'm not going after you. I'm just talking in general. The people that are complaining about us blowing up drug boats. You're an idiot. Okay, like if you think that we shouldn't blow up drug boats, you clearly haven't had half of your friends around you die from freaking drug overdoses. Okay, I've buried 6 friends. Okay, so shut up about it.
Straight.
I mean, again, I've told this story on the show before. I'll tell it again for everybody else that's listening currently. In my town, the day that fentanyl hit the streets, 68 people died that night. Okay, and then over the next 2 months, so many people died that they had to bring in ice trucks because the morgue was full. Okay, so stop pretending that the fentanyl that hit our streets wasn't killing thousands of Americans, because it was killing tens of thousands of them. Okay, the ice trucks outside of the damn morgue in my city was the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. And so I don't have any sympathy at all for Venezuelan drug dealers. Blow them out of the damn water. Kill them all. Kill every single one of them. I don't care.
Sorry.
Well, and this is also where Martha Raddatz hung up Elisa Slotkins, and this is where I think Mark Kelly is going to get in some serious water. Is because Martha Raddatz, she went on there to do a softball interview like everybody expected Martha Raddatz to do. And then Martha Raddatz asked her, what illegal orders are you referencing? And she said, gave some political answer. Martha said, no. But what illegal orders are you stating in this video that have happened under this administration? And she said, to my knowledge, no illegal orders have happened. She said, then why did you reference illegal orders? Name me something that you were referencing. And she said, well, I mean, we could certainly look at what's happening by Venezuela as possibly questionable. And so she gave the tell, Walter. She tipped her hat. It's about Venezuela while our men and women are down there because something major is going on that we don't fully know about.
Exactly.
She has been led into. And there's a reason why this happened. And I think this is why Mark Kelly is going to be in hot water.
Again, I mean, the whole issue with Mark Kelly is that if you're a retired military officer and we're in the middle of doing stuff in the military, this isn't a political issue anymore. Okay? It's a military issue. That's the way I look at it. I don't care who says it. It doesn't matter. If you're retired military and you're subject to the USCMJ, sucks. You shouldn't have said it. That's the way I look at this. I mean, it's a huge problem, okay? If we've got military things going on, you can't start dissuading our military and putting up billboards all over the country telling people to defect. Are you insane? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, why on earth would this be a good thing in any world? In any scenario, why is it a good idea? Like, I mean, there's no good reason to put up billboards all over the country when we're in the middle of possible military incursions, trying to tell people stop following lawful orders or unlawful orders. It doesn't matter what you say. This is not good. Okay, our military has a real function that does real things. And what stupid politicians in D.C., if they want to play games with our military, they should be subject to what the military is going to do about it. And that's, I think, is exactly what's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see here. I've got a couple of new hands up here. Adam, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Walter? Thoughts and prayers to the National Guardsmen that were attacked today. It's a total kibosh with what Biden did with the Afghan withdrawal and the influx of the border. It was just mayhem what he created, and this is the back blow of it. But in regards to Venezuela, I think strictly I think about the election systems and the rigging of election systems and the software that's created there. It might be a hub for this black operation that's runs these gambits on the countries. Who knows? Well, there's a lot that we don't know what's going on down there.
Well, and this is the thing that I keep telling people is like, guys, again, I'll just say it just one more time here. You don't send half the frickin' fleet to Venezuela for no reason. Okay? Sorry, the Gerald Ford, the largest aircraft carrier in the world, doesn't show up for funsies. Okay, like there's a reason.
It's screaming color revolution hub pretty much to me.
I don't know what the purpose of it is there, but I'll tell you right now, it's there for a reason. Okay, you don't just drop the Ford around there just to hang out. But you're like, oh look how cool it is. Let's take some photos. Like, nah. You guys are nuts. I mean, there is a carrier strike group is one of the most dangerous things. It is the most dangerous strike force on the planet. It's the most lethal military machine that has ever been created ever. Okay, so we are dropping our most powerful one right off the coast of Venezuela for something. It is there for a reason, people. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know what the reason is, and you're not going to know what the reason is because, as Trump says, I'm not going to tell you. Why would he tell you? Why on earth would we leak our military plans? No one's going to know about that. You know, my theory is that it's something to do with China. That's like, you know, that there's a strategic play going down in the middle, in the southern part of our hemisphere, that there's something going on specifically with China. I don't think that's a joke. I think there's something real going on there. I have no idea. And no, neither knows anybody else. But sitting out here thinking it's a good idea in the midst of this to then say, oh, you know what? Everyone should defect from the military. Let's put up billboards all over the country and call for sedition from our senators. Are you insane? What are you doing? We have a military for a reason. It does a real purpose.
That's why I'm thinking it's you know, them trying to protect their interests, right? You have this steady state that they created after they left and got all their clearances cut off. You know, Brennan and Bunch.
I mean, who knows? Listen,
you know
again,
what I mean?
we don't know
it's reeking really bad in Denmark.
Again, no one knows what's going on down in Venezuela. No one knows. But again, my point is specifically is that you shouldn't dissuade our military from doing their jobs while we're in the middle of it, whatever it is. Like, let's let them do what they're supposed to be doing. They're the military. Let them do their damn jobs and stop telling them to leave their posts. Are you insane? I mean, it's the craziest thing in the world to me. Go ahead, Sunlight.
Yeah, hey Walter, I was just going to say that I don't know if you saw this back in January, but Marco Rubio, in testimony to Congress, was talking about the Iranians involved in Venezuela and building drone factories. And these drones are not like the drones that you use to go look for Mayan temples out in the jungle. These are drones that could potentially strike targets within the United States and other allies in Central and South America.
Well, I mean, there's a number of pieces of information. This is all stuff that I've heard from sort of intel sources, people around the world sources and whatnot. That the Hezbollah was very active in southern hemisphere. They were very active in Venezuela, Colombia, and parts of Mexico. So it's not out of the question that this stuff exists down there, and that's what they're going after. But again, who knows? But whatever it is, the Ford is there. So the Ford's there for a reason. So I'm sure I want it to do whatever it needs to do because I'm sure it's there for a pretty good reason. That's my whole argument here. Okay, so I've got hands here. Southern, go ahead, and then I'm going to get to Jeff.
We have to also remember Maduro has a bounty on Trump's life, and Trump has one on Maduro. So we got those agendas going on. But I am praying for the two people from West Virginia and pray that they're going to be okay. But I'm going to step away. The shooting of the two National Guard just really took me down today because they're so vulnerable right now because they're terrified to protect themselves. They're making sure they're not in a gotcha moment where they're going to shoot and this person didn't have a gun. Democrats are desperate for that to be on camera, that can take down a military person or a National Guard or a police officer. And this will continue to happen. This will continue to happen. And the Democrats, have you seen any of the Democrats come out and have anything to say? And Joe Biden and Jill Biden had the balls to come out today praying for the two West Virginia National Guardsmen. I just wanted to scream. But I got to step away to help with my family. I just want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. I know this is not the way we wanted to go into Thanksgiving, but we need to take a breath and enjoy the holiday because this is such high stress and we have to save our country. But right now, let's just have our moment with our family.
I agree.
Love you guys.
Thank you, Southern. Thank you for being here this evening. Happy Thanksgiving, sweetheart. Okay.
Thank you, sweet.
Okay. So
And
let's.
Walter, it's not
Happy Thanksgiving,
speculative.
Southern.
Happy Thanksgiving, Southern. Hang in there, okay? It's not speculative that this is the case. The Daily Mail reported quite some time ago, and in even in this year, that at least 10,000 Iranian Hezbollah members entered the United States under Joe Biden with Venezuelan passports.
Yep.
So, and I can tell you on a personal note, I'll just say this on a personal note. It doesn't mean neither here nor there, but I will tell you that I know of at least 5 Venezuelans in my own personal life that came here under Biden that are Iranian.
Yeah, I mean, listen to me. I've got a friend of mine that was working the border, Jeff Rainforth. If you guys know who that is, he's got a great report. You guys go check out Rainforth report. He was essentially, he just lived on the border during the Biden administration. So he's got a bunch of images that show the ditched passports of Iranian passports that he found down there on the border. Like, I mean, he has the photos. So I mean, the people that act like it's not true, this was happening, people. Okay, this was happening. This is stuff that is real serious, and this is why we need to fix these problems. Okay, like we can't play around with this stuff. These people need to be put in prison. You need to get all these people out of the country. Okay, Jeff, you're trying to get in here. And then I've only got a couple minutes left here, guys, so I'll give him one more hand after that. So go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, you can't fly terrorists in from Damascus, Syria, and support training camps for terrorists in Venezuela, plus fentanyl and pseudoephedrine, the CCP, and the whole 9 yards. No, sir, it's unacceptable. And from here on out, we're in charge of that area, Walter. Hope everybody has a good, happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Okay, so go ahead, Adam, and then I've really got to shut down. I'm already over time, guys. So go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I'll keep it short, Walter. The levity of the situation did not change when Trump got into office. We've had 20 million people, plus come across the border unvetted. 13 plus thousand unknown terrorist lists that were caught. Not to mention all the gotaways. The levity of the situation has not changed. Yes, President Trump has closed the border, but now we're stuck in here with these 20 million invaders. And that's why the National Guard is spread throughout the United States of America. That's why you have these quick response units. The levity of the situation is real. It's not a joke. Joe Biden and all these people allowed these people into the country over the past 4 years, 20 million plus, unvetted. The levity of the situation is serious, and it's not a joke for anybody to be playing political games and sowing seeds of doubt within our military, and especially in dealing with this situation that Joe Biden and these Democrats have brought upon this country. And I'll yield. I'll say that as an immigrant myself. So,
well, I mean, listen, and this is my whole point here, guys. When it comes to this stuff, when it comes to the billboards, when it comes to the sedition video, all of this stuff is a problem. It's a huge problem because we are in a very serious scenario in our country. Okay, we would let everyone be reminded after what just happened today why we're in such a serious scenario, because of the Democrats' poor policies and the insanity that happened over the past 4 years. Okay, that's why we're here. That's why this happened in the first place. And the idea that you can put up billboards all around the country and try to get people to defect from our military, I hope every single one of you who did something to do with that goes to prison. I hope every single one of you does. And if you had something to do with it, if you were a part of this, I hope you find yourself in front of a military court. That's what I hope happens to you, because we're in a serious scenario, and I'm tired of playing games with these people. Okay, so all of the people that were brought underneath the Biden administration now should all be deported, every single one of them, I think. I think take all their visas, get them all out of here, and then anybody that had anything to do with this sedition video and anything that had anything to do with the idea of putting billboards across the country, they should also be thrown out of the country. I mean, I don't care. I mean, this is not a game. We're playing with our military. You're playing with our troops. You're playing with what's going on. You're playing with people's lives is what you're really playing with. Okay, so let's not play around. This isn't funny. This isn't a game. Stop it. We need to get it under control. Guys, this is the Political Theater. I'm Walter Kerr. Thank you guys for showing up here this evening. This is a weeknight space, 9 p.m. weeknights. We're here every night. Thank you guys for showing up this evening. We will be back on Friday night. I hope you guys have an excellent Thanksgiving. Spend it with your families. Pray for the families of these National Guardsmen, and they've lost. Hopefully they pull through. We don't know the current status of these troops. Hopefully they pull through, but also pray for all of the National Guardsmen across the country that are actually out here trying to keep our communities safe and just trying to do the best that they can. They're just trying to do their jobs, and people are trying to take their lives, and this is insane. So pray for their families, pray for your families, and I hope you guys have an excellent Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys Friday night. Thanks, guys.
Some folks are born with a liberty spark, their hearts beat red, white, and blue. When the anchors sneer and the cameras bark, they turn the lens right back at you. Truth bound, ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not the party line sons, no, we ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Some folks inherit silk-lined halls, spend our sweat while preaching share. But when the tax man wraps his knuckles raw, their mansions suddenly look bare, impaired. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not their banker-raised hares, no. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Yeah, some paint stars on press room lies and send the common men to toil. Ask them, how much truth will you trade tonight? They mutter, more noise, more noise, more noise. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. Not the theater's pawns, friend. It ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're America's steadfast one. No, we won't be spun.